It is 6:04, 4 minutes after 6 o'clock on this Friday morning as we head into Memorial Day. It's sitting on about, 69 outside, I think?
About 68 degrees.
68, 69. There's going to be a very wet weekend. So I hate that. I wish I had better news. Dollar Bill and Jaylen here with you on this Friday. And again, it is Memorial Day weekend. And, it's kind of, of course, Memorial Day weekend is supposed to be for memorializing those who have given their lives in service to the country. But for a lot of people, it's also kind of the first kickoff weekend of summer.
Right.
So everybody wants really pretty weather so they can cook out and they can go to maybe the lake or the stream or do something outside and just enjoy the beginnings of summer. Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. No, it's not going to happen.
Although it's not a washout, it doesn't look like, but we've got like an 80% chance of rain today, tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday.
Yes.
So it's that deal where we're going to be okay until about noon today. Drizzly or cloudy, but then there's a good chance we could have some severe thunderstorms develop through the afternoons every day this long holiday week.
I mean, yesterday afternoon, it was so hot. Yesterday. It was blistering hot.
Mary had me outside, and I can tell you it was hot because I'd normally be out in the sun.
You like the cold weather.
I like it cold. I mean, I like it cool. I don't know
cool.
if I like cold. But it was hot yesterday. And it's going to be hot. It's going to be up in the 80s, which is pretty warm when you consider you've got all this Gulf moisture and instability. So looks like what's going to be kind of a pattern of not too bad in the mornings. As the day ramps up, so do the storms, and then it should be not too bad late at night, kind of cool. But anyway, I wish we had better news for you for your Memorial Day weekend. And also, if you're going to go out to one of the national cemeteries or pay tribute for a memorial or whatever for Memorial Day, you sure hate for it to be nasty weather, too.
Right.
You want it to be nice weather.
Hopefully we can find a couple hours here and there to do something with the family and be able to, outside.
It's, like I say, the only thing I think that's scary is the fact that we could have thunder showers and maybe even tornadoes and that kind of stuff. And that's not great, but it's really dangerous if you're on the water. And we do that since we got Lay Lake here and Mitchell and Martin and
that's the thing
Logan Martin. There's a lot of lakes and people are wanting to hit. I've seen an awful lot of boats the last 2 days on trailers heading toward the water.
I saw so many yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday afternoon, we had a couple of cop cars helping some boats get on the road. So
really?
Yes, I did.
Why were they helping them get on the road?
I have no idea. I don't know what it was. Maybe some type of tournament or something, but I have no idea. But there were so many, almost over 15 of them.
Wow. That's like a caravan.
There it is.
A boat caravan.
A boat caravan. But yes, it is Friday, May 22nd. You know what day it also is?
What?
It is National Strawberries and Cream Day.
Oh, that's a good one. This is strawberry season, or it's actually, we've probably been in strawberry season for a week or two, hadn't we? Doesn't it usually hit like in early May?
Around this time.
Oh, we've had some good strawberries. I tell you what, I've been really impressed with the strawberries. Peaches are coming in now. Now, they said they kind of took a hit this year, but we'll see. I know the early ones were really sweet. They were just tiny. And then I've already had some really good cantaloupe. You call them cantaloupes?
I do.
You know what I only knew them as until I was in high school or college?
Cantaloupes?
Yeah. I never knew the name cantaloupe.
What'd you call them?
Mushmelons.
Mushmelons?
Mushmelons. That was what my dad and my family called them. Mushmelons, and I only found out like when I was in high school they were also called cantaloupes. And then I thought, well, did anybody else call them mushmelons? I saw a thing on Facebook of a guy from up in Appalachia somewhere in West Virginia, and that's what he was saying. He said the cantaloupe is but he said I never knew it. My family called them something else my whole life. Mushmelons.
Wow. Cantaloupe is one of my favorite fruits.
Me too.
I would say that. Honeydew. I really love honeydew.
I love honeydew if it's a good one.
Right. That's what it is. You got to find a good one.
With honeydews, you can have a so-so cantaloupe to a great one. It's good.
Right.
Watermelon can be only so-so and still be pretty good. A so honeydew is just not good. It's just no
Right.
flavor. But boy, a pretty soft, sweet one.
Do you have
Can't beat
one?
'em.
I mean, that's with
They're
me
like
in
candy.
that's with me in oranges. Like I love the cuties and everything,
Yeah.
but they have to be sweet.
Sweet. Have you ever had a satsuma?
No, what is that?
It's a citrus. It's grown mainly in South Alabama and North Florida, Northwest Florida. And satsumas are phenomenal because they're usually almost seed free and so sweet and wonderful and easy to peel. They peel so, and they've got a knob on the end of them. They're not always round. They're more oblong, and they look like they have this almost nipply thing on the end. And it's just puffy thing. You pull it, that thing peels so easy. And that satsumas come in really early, or is it really late? I guess it's really late. I think they come in October. Is when they. Oh my God!
Phenomenal.
You'll need to look for. They had satsumas here at the Peach Park and at Heaton.
Do they look like an orange? Because you say you can
They're
peel
really
them.
dark orange.
Oh,
they're
really
pretty
dark.
orange, yeah. But they're rough looking. They're kind of ugly.
Oh,
Because they look puffy, and they tend to have a fairly odd looking orange. I mean, it's not a real smooth and pretty smooth peel. It's
rough.
pebbly.
Yes, rough.
But boy, it peels easy, and a good satsuma is so sweet. It's like candy,
Really, that
and very very orangey.
for me, there's one fruit that like does that to me. It's like I don't really have it very often, but when I do and it's good, there's nothing better, and that's a plum.
Oh yeah, I love plums. I don't like the green plums. I know a lot of people like to get those sour green plums and put salt on them and eat them with salt.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Do you put salt on your cantaloupe?
I put salt on watermelon.
Yeah.
But
you
not
don't
on,
do it on
not
cantaloupe?
on cantaloupe. I like a good crunchy cantaloupe.
Yeah.
But on watermelon, that's the only thing that I put salt on.
I only put salt on the bad watermelons. If it's a really good watermelon, I don't need salt. You know what else somebody told me to put salt on, and I couldn't believe it made it sweeter? Raw pineapple.
Really?
Raw pineapple. Don't, not canned and
Right.
syrupy.
Yeah, of course.
But you take a regular, and if it's not real sweet, put a little salt on it, it tastes sweeter. I don't know what that story is.
For me, I love pineapple, but I can't eat much of it because it burns the roof of my mouth and it rubs it raw.
Some people react very strongly to the acid in it.
Yeah, and that's just for me. So that's why I like. And with oranges, sometimes if I eat so much of it, it's so citrusy, it can hurt the back of my throat.
Yeah, citric acid. Yeah,
So-
you got to be. Yeah, I know. One summer I got hooked on limeades. It was a year back. I mean, this was like when I was in college, and me and a buddy just, for some reason, we just got hooked on. We wanted limeades like 2 or 3 a day, and back then limes were pretty cheap.
Right.
So we invested in a squeezer.
Invested. There we go.
Yeah, we did because we didn't have, college. And we made limeade so much that we broke out in a rash. And I went to the doctor because I didn't know what this rash was. And it was citric acid poisoning. So we...
Wow, I did not know you could get citric acid poisoning.
I didn't either, but boy, that's how much citric acid we were ingesting. It didn't give me indigestion or anything. It broke me out.
Yeah, it's funny. People say you learn something new every day, and I truly believe that because I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, I didn't either till I went to the doctor.
You just went to the extreme.
Well, I had to test it out.
Yeah, test it out.
So I found out, but I still, there's nothing better to me than a real limeade.
Really?
I mean, made with lime juice, and buying the limeade's not quite what you want. But boy, you buy fresh limes and do it. Oh my God, it's amazing.
It's nothing like fresh produce as well.
No, I love it. And this is my favorite time of year. It is 6:14, 14 minutes after 6 o'clock. Jaylen and Dollar Bill here with you on this Friday going into Memorial Day. We'll talk about Memorial Day activities and stuff coming up. We'll thank some of our sponsors, and we're just glad you're with us. Thank you for watching and listening to us here on Piper Peach Radio's Morning Mayhem. 6:14. We'll be right back.
Looking for the perfect way to unwind, compete, and have fun with friends or family? Then Putter Up Pelham is your next destination. Whether you're a mini golf pro or just out for a good time, Putter Up offers a one-of-a-kind indoor putting experience with custom effects lighting, sounds, and robotics at each hole, plus automated scoring and a virtual caddy to guide your game. And our ADA-compliant courses include special putters for individuals using wheelchairs or walkers, so everyone can join the fun from ages 4 to 100. Rain or shine, day or night, it's always game time at Putter Up. Come for the fun, stay for the challenge. Swing by Putter Up, where every stroke counts. Traditions come and go, but excellent service and compassionate care are benchmarks in any era. That's what Ellison Memorial Funeral Home is committed to providing you, whether through the pre-arrangement process or seeking services at your time of loss. Ellison Memorial offers a noticeable level of care and attention to detail. Others do not. So before making a decision based on yesterday's traditions, experience the Ellison difference when it comes to your loved one's final arrangements. You'll be glad you did. Call us today at 205-280-4600. Ellison Memorial Funeral Home, setting the new standard in local funeral service excellence. We are always here when you need us.
Underage drinking is deemed by many adults to be a rite of passage. Parents who host parties for youth may think they are being protective, but they are actually putting their youth at risk of physical and social consequences. Know the truth. Underage drinking and social hosting is a bad mix. For more information, contact Central Alabama Wellness, 205-651-0077, or visit centralalabamawellness.org.
Good morning, 617. We are back, and we're glad to be with you on this Friday, Memorial Day weekend as we head in. Dollar Bill, Jaylen with you here on this Friday. And Jaylen, have you got our sponsors? Have you got a list of our sponsors? I don't have one.
I do not have one. They're all gone.
Did what?
They all disappeared. I do not have them anywhere.
Okay. Do we have a list of sponsors we can get? We want to thank all our sponsors this morning. I know Coca-Cola is one of our great sponsors. And we got so many others. We want to mention them all through the morning because they are what make this show possible. You know, that's the beauty of having sponsors. They are what help pay the bills to keep the lights on and the camera going and the mics on.
And we're glad to be here doing it.
Darn right.
I mean, this is what it's about.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is the thing about Piper Peaks Radio is this is your community station. This is a station that wants to take care of everybody in our area, not just Clanton, but all of Chilton County and the surrounding area, because that's what we're here for. And that's getting less and less of that in our world today. I was talking with a guy yesterday. Of course, I worked for the biggest company for 20-something years, iHeartRadio, which is before that it was called. Thank you. Before that it was called Clear Channel, and they, oh my God, they are they're huge, and they're just getting away from having anyone live or local. They just want to syndicate everything. That makes it really cheap. They can have one guy in St. Louis do the afternoon or midday show for hundreds of stations all over the country. And if they have somebody doing mornings like Bobby Bones, so they have somebody doing middays and somebody doing afternoons and somebody doing, they're only paying 6 people, and that puts 300 people out of a job.
Right.
So sad.
Right.
So it's very efficient. I give them that.
Absolutely.
But it certainly isn't good for the local.
I mean, because they can be anywhere.
Well, they are. I mean,
and they
that's
are.
the beauty of today's digital, if you want to look at the beauty of it. Matter of fact, when COVID hit, I was doing all my shows from my house,
Right.
both in Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, and the national shows. I was doing classic country shows in 43 states from
Really?
my house. From my house.
How many hours would you have to record?
It was pretty hideous. We did a live morning show, and then the morning show was live then. And then I did Tuscaloosa. It was done just a few hours before it aired. So it was just before it aired, but it was not live because I had to pre-do it and put it in the system to air that afternoon. So I did it a couple hours before it aired. So you could keep up with what was going on weather-wise a little bit and news-wise, but it wasn't live.
Right.
Because you couldn't be. Because I also then had to get ready to do 2 6-hour shows for the weekend.
Oh, wow.
And so the classic country were 6 hours long on Saturday, 6 hours on Sunday. And that was in 43 states. So I was on the...
You were everywhere, and you were a busy man.
It was getting almost... Yeah, it was almost where I got to where I almost couldn't handle it. I'll be honest with you. As I aged, and of course, you're getting up at 3 every morning to do the morning show. You're working all day long, and sometimes a little into the night. Then you had special events like every Tuesday night. We were down at the Tin Roof in downtown Birmingham from 5:30 till about 9, and then you had big concerts both at the amphitheaters, and then I also had to do all the concerts that were in Tuscaloosa because I was on down there. And then you had other events like City Fest and Peach Jam and those kind of things on the weekends. So it was, by the time I hit 70, I'd been doing it. It was starting to wear me out a little bit, and it was just constant. It's not bad if you got to do it. 1 week is a hard week,
Right.
but it never eased up.
There was always something to do.
Always something to do, and of course, radio doesn't stop if it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Memorial Day,
Any day,
Labor Day. Yeah,
it's always
you're on 24/7. So we could work out some things like in those last few years, I rarely had to work on Christmas Day, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. I rarely had to work on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, only because of I'd been in it long enough.
Right.
Other guys were working it, I just didn't have to. But it was still amazing because it just never stopped. And the national shows didn't care what day it was.
They had to get it. You had to do it.
It was if it was a Saturday or a Sunday, your show had to go on 6 hours each day. So that includes, there were no sick days. And there were no vacation days. There was many a time. I remember one of the last weekends I had to cut before I retired. I was on vacation, and me and my wife Mary and a couple of friends, we were staying in a condo in Panama City Beach. It was down that way. It was in the coast. Maybe it was Destin. I don't know. But they were all on the beach, and I looked at the clock and said, "Oop, I got to go," and I had to get off. Go back up to the room, find a quiet area of the condo where you couldn't hear the music or anything outside, and do a show. Because it was a Saturday and a Sunday, and I had a 6-hour
And they needed it.
And I had to.
No wonder you drink so many Monsters and Mountain Dews to keep yourself going.
It's in my veins.
It's in your veins as well as the citric.
And it was one of the most blessed, wonderful careers a guy could have. So if you're lazy, really, everybody always said, my joke is, I got into radio because I was lazy. So for a living, I did what everybody does to relax. I sat on my butt and played music and talked. Which is what you do when you're not working, right? You just listen to music, you sit around, you may talk to somebody. Well, when you're doing it for a living, it kind of changes things. And I loved it. Don't get me wrong, but you can't be particularly lazy if you want to be in broadcasting because it never ends.
Right.
But now there's, like we were talking about, it's sad thing is the trend is now that it's all just a few people and they just don't have, I saw where this week they've been laying off a big layoff at Channel 42 in Birmingham, WIAT. They're laying a bunch of people off up there. They're cutting way back.
I mean, I guess I can mention CBS Radio.
They're done.
They're done.
And that
today is
their last day. And I grew up listening to CBS News because that was the big one when I was growing up in the 50s and 60s and 70s. If you wanted, a lot of people at that time didn't really, TV was coming in the 50s, of course. And you had Walter Cronkite and all these guys on TV that were starting to be big. But before that, the big name from just before World War II until the 60s was Edward R. Murrow. And Edward R. Murrow was the Mac Daddy of news commentators and reporters. He was the guy that everybody's famous during World War II for hearing him say, "Good evening, everybody. I'm Edward R. Murrow. This is London." And he was in London during the siege of London by the Nazis, where the Battle of Britain was going on. And CBS News was like the Mac Daddy of news. And remember, back then there were really only about 3 or 4 networks. There was the Mutual Radio Network. There was CBS. I don't think there was an ABC or NBC back then. And so you only had 2 or 3 that fed everybody their news, and there was no TV. So news came from 2 sources for many, many decades: newspapers and radio. And CBS was the killer. And it's just so sad that today is the final day, and there will be no more CBS News, radio news. It'll be TV, but not CBS radio news after today.
Well, I mean, it's after nearly 100 years on the air, and it said it first launched in 1927. It mentions Edward R. Murrow. It mentions Walter Cronkite and Charles Osgood as well.
Oh, yeah, Charles Osgood. Charles Osgood was one of my favorites. He was the guy that ended up doing, Sunday morning on CBS. He even when he was on television, he always ended his broadcast with, "Thank you for watching. Have a good day," or whatever. "See you on the radio." And I love that. "See you on the radio."
And those are like
very personal.
Before like TV really and streaming and everything, that probably became radio and CBS. That was the thing to do.
Yep.
That was how you get your news. I
Radio
remember
was it. My dad grew up. He was born in 1926, so he was born the year before
it launched.
Started, but he was only 1 when they started. My dad lived to be 93. Most of his life, that would be from the late 20s all through the 30s, all through 40s, which included World War II from 41 to 45.
Yep.
And, into the 50s. And then the 60s, late 50s is when TV really exploded. 52 and 53 was the beginning of the real explosion of television, where people could afford them and people started buying them by the millions, by the thousands, and then the millions. Radio was it. You got everything from radio. People heard of the Hindenburg and of wars and of everything from radio. There was no TV. And of course, radio could be almost instant, whereas newspapers had to be printed and everything. Then you had to read it. But radio fed it to you, and it fed it to you really quickly, and it could change on a dime, whereas you can't change newspapers on a dime. They can reprint, but there's a delay. So it's so sad. CBS News no more. Yeah.
I saw something. I was watching an interview, and they said their favorite thing about it was the storytelling of it all.
There's it's been taken. Some of the storytelling's been taken over. Not taken over, but also you can at least still have it on NPR,
right?
National Public Radio, because they have StoryCorps and all these things that still tell stories. But yeah, that when you used to get your radio stuff, you didn't just get the news headlines, you got stories about things, because there were news talk radio stations back then that did nothing but news. When I worked at ERC, when AM radios were starting to really suffer from playing music, the FMs were kicking their butts. they tried to look for alternatives, niche programming and stuff that people would still listen to AM on. And when I was at ERC, we went from playing rock and roll to CNN radio when they created CNN radio in like 1980, I don't know, 80, 81, somewhere in there. And we were one of the first stations in Birmingham to go 100% news talk. That is nothing but news.
Absolutely.
News and talk. And I did the talk show in the middays. I did all kind of stuff. I had a cooking show on radio of all things, which was a little weird concept, but it was incredibly popular.
I bet.
People were with recipes, and we had chefs on. I had a famous chef named Paul Prudhomme, who is the guy that basically invented blackened anything. He came up with a novel dish called blackened redfish, where he took redfish, which had always been kind of a undervalued fish, just cheap, just nobody bought it. And he would put the spices on the Cajun. He was Cajun. He put the Cajun spices on it and put it in a skillet that was so hot it was almost glowing white, and just sear it, and it would just made blackened redfish. And that's what started the blackened craze, made redfish so popular they almost fished it into extinction.
Really?
Yeah, they now have tremendous controls over redfish. Used to be just, you'd catch all you want anytime you want, and they were plentiful. They almost fished redfish into oblivion. So they've had, now that you can't get redfish, and it's expensive where it used to be cheap. But he did that on my radio show one time. He brought into this fancy gas cooktop that would heat a cast iron skillet just to hideous heat. And he was talking on the air, and you don't think about it, but a radio studio is airtight so that it can be soundproof. So when he threw that blackened fish with all the spices, which includes cayenne, pepper, and all these really spicy things, when it hit that hot skillet, our studio became a gas chamber. Deadly gas chamber. We were choking and spitting.
Oh my gosh.
And we were live on the air, and we couldn't breathe. Our eyes were watering. We were choking. We had to jump up and run out of the room, left the mics on, didn't even turn the mics off. They heard us choking it. They heard this thing go psh, like sizzling. And we went, oh boy, listen to that. And it sounded like we were being killed, strangled. And we all bumbled out of the room, chairs falling over. I mean, it was killing us.
Right.
And then we're out in the hall trying to get our eyes clear and catch our breath. And we realized on the air, all you're hearing is the sizzle of this fish burning in the thing, and the thing's still going. I had to take 3 deep breaths, hold my breath, and go running in and turn the little thing off that was cooking the fish, and turn the mic off and hit a thing and run out. And it was one of the craziest days that I've ever had on the radio. And that was the only radio show I heard that Paul Prudhomme ever did. He would never do them again because he never thought about it. Nobody had.
Oh,
because even when he did them on TV, the studios were much bigger.
Right.
A radio studio is much smaller, confined, and airtight. So.
And airtight. There we go.
And it was, man, it like to have killed us. It is 6:33. Thank you for being with us on this Memorial Day Friday morning. We've got so much more to share with you. And thank you for watching and listening. We appreciate it more than you know. And we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. So stay with us right here on this Friday going into a long holiday weekend. And it can be a dangerous weekend traffic-wise. We'll talk about that coming up when we get back. So stay with us. Thank you for watching.
Come and go, but excellent service and compassionate care are benchmarks in any era. That's what Ellison Memorial Funeral Home is committed to providing you, whether through the pre-arrangement process or seeking services at your time of loss. Ellison Memorial offers a noticeable level of care and attention to detail. Others do not. So before making a decision based on yesterday's traditions, experience the Ellison difference when it comes to your loved one's final arrangements. You'll be glad you did. Call us today at 205-280-4444 4600. Ellison Memorial Funeral Home, setting the new standard in local funeral service excellence. We are always here when you need us.
Underage drinking is deemed by many adults to be a rite of passage. Parents who host parties for youth may think they are being protective, but they are actually putting their youth at risk of physical and social consequences. Know the truth. Underage drinking and social hosting is a bad mix. For more information, contact Central Alabama Wellness, 205-651-0077, or visit centralalabamawellness.org.
Chilton Mobile Home Parts and Supply is your go-to destination for top quality mobile home parts and supplies in Clanton, Alabama. Conveniently located at 14023 County Road 29, just 3 miles east of Thorsby. We offer a diverse inventory, including underpinning, doors, windows, faucets, tubs, setup supplies, and more. Our commitment to quality ensures you'll find the best solutions for your mobile home needs. Upgrade your space with stylish doors and windows. Enhance functionality with top-notch faucets and tubs. All conveniently available in one place. Visit us today or call 205-646-1949. Transform your mobile home with Chilton, where quality meets convenience.
Hey, it is 6:36, 24 minutes away from 7 o'clock. It's about, I don't know, what was it? Has it gotten any warmer
No,
outside?
it has stayed here at 68 degrees.
68, okay.
Yeah.
High today about 82, and a good chance we're going to have thunder showers through the late afternoon. We're going to be good here until in Chilton County. We might have drizzle or a little light rain or something, but it should be okay until about lunchtime. And then sometime through the afternoon after lunch, there's a good chance we could see some, not only rain, but maybe some heavy thunder showers, thunderstorms.
Yeah.
And they're even saying that they don't know because the air is so
Right.
dynamic, we could have tornadic activity too.
Hopefully
So,
not, though.
Yeah,
Hopefully not.
stay weather aware, as they say.
Thank you to our sponsor, Putter Putt, up in Pelham.
Putter Up, I love that place.
Oh, I'm sorry, Putter Up.
Yeah.
They have a beautiful spot up in Pelham, and it is indoors.
Yeah, so, no matter what the weather, go play. If it's raining and you want something to do with the family or you just want something to do, Putter Up's a great place to go. You're inside.
Indoors,
Great
yes.
restaurants all around it. You got the Oyster House and some other restaurants right there, so you can go eat and stay inside and just enjoy even a rainy or stormy afternoon.
With the family, of course. And that's one of my favorite foods is oysters. Oh, man.
I do too. Do you like them raw?
I do.
Me too.
I do. Every time I go to the beach, either at Gulf Shores or Panama City Beach, it's always oysters.
Yeah, my problem is that you're not really supposed to eat oysters.
Right. But we do.
In May. You can eat them up until April, but May, June, July, and August, you're not supposed to eat.
Why is that?
It's the hot time, and you can get more bacteria in the water and stuff. They say don't eat raw oysters if the month doesn't have an R in it. So September is your first month with an R in it. So
Right.
September, October, November, December, January, February, March. April. And then May has it. And May, June, July, and August. Isn't that funny? There's no R's in any of the summer months.
Right.
And that's when they say, nowadays they're better. I think you could probably really get away with eating oysters, 12 months out of the year. But in the old days, when there was no, less refrigeration and less control and less testing, it was just a good rule of thumb not to eat oysters in the hottest months of the year. I like you. If I go to the beach, I want some oysters.
I mean, that's the time to go. To go to the beach is the summertime, and it's funny that
when you're not supposed
to eat them.
Well, I used to go to New Orleans a fair amount, and I used to go in the winter. I'd go down there and around Christmas time, around December or November, December, anywhere in there. And oh my God, there's the Felix Oyster House, and then there's the what's the other one? There's one right across the street on Bourbon Street, anyway, or Canal Street. Oh, I've gone in there with friends and sat and had a dozen oysters, and we'd sit and have a beverage and talk. And then we'd order another dozen oysters each.
I know that bill was.
And then a couple hours later, we'd have another dozen. Well, when I first you're going to love this. When I first went to New Orleans in the 70s, oysters were a dime a piece. You could eat a dozen oysters for $1.20.
Wow.
And that was considered kind of expensive.
For the whole dozen?
Yeah, $1.20.
Wow. Now it's, $30.
Oh, yeah. Now it's like $3 an oyster.
Right.
But then I remember when they went up to 25 cents. And it got to a point when they really were going on up, they would run specials. And the special was 25-cent oysters. That was the deal. They would do a bar night where, like, maybe say a Wednesday night is not a big night down there in the bars. So they would do 25-cent oyster night. And people would just pack in there to eat cheap oysters,
Of course. It's funny.
I don't think they do 25-cent oyster night anymore.
No, they don't. Maybe $25 oysters instead of the 30, 35.
Well, you figure 25 cents an oyster, that's not bad.
Right. I remember last year, me and my friends, we took a trip to Austin, Texas.
I love Austin.
And we went there, and on the way back, I had never been to New Orleans.
Really?
So we went there, and we went to Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge, Red Stick.
We saw the LSU Stadium. We saw Death Valley.
Right.
We tried beignets.
Oh, in New Orleans or in Baton Rouge?
In Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I don't know what they're like in Baton Rouge. Were they good?
They were good. It was different. It was very powdery.
Oh,
like
yeah.
You can get.
They're called powder bombs.
So messy.
Yeah. You bite into one and you wear a lot of white.
I did. We tried our best not to, and we're teenagers, so we definitely laughed, and it got everywhere, and all the people that were in that restaurant were just staring at us because we had just
powder
everywhere.
The famous beignets were from the Café du Monde.
Yes,
on in the market down in New Orleans, and then they served the famous coffee made with chicory. They put chicory in their coffee, which gives it a kind of a more bitter, odd flavor. I don't particularly love chicory coffee, but
I'm not a big coffee fan at all. So
I like coffee with the beignets if it's not the chicory coffee.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty neat. I love New Orleans for food. Now, New Orleans has had such a sketchy history, and sometimes New Orleans is wonderful, and sometimes it's a little dangerous, and sometimes it's just plain nasty.
Right.
And I've been on Bourbon Street when it was, believe it or not, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day on Bourbon Street is wonderful.
Really?
Because people go to midnight mass down in at Jackson Square in the big cathedral. They come out on Christmas morning at 1:30 and 1:15 in the morning. Everybody goes to eat what they call reverie. I think it's called reverie, and it's all the restaurants are open for people that are coming out of mass, and they have these wonderful, like 5-course meals for a pretty good price. And you can go out, and families are all over town at 2 a.m, because their kids went to midnight mass, and they then go to eat at, I think it's Reverie. I think that's what it's called. And oh my God, it's so family, or it's not nasty. There's none of the strip clubs and that stuff are open for Christmas. And it's just fun. You see little kids running up and down the streets at 2 a.m. because it's Christmas.
It's Christmas. Stay up.
And it's wonderful. And then you go there like for Mardi Gras, and it's just nasty.
Right.
I mean, Mardi Gras is fun in lots of parts of New Orleans, not Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
But Bourbon Street is strictly beads, drinking, and puking.
Right.
That's pretty much all it is down there. That it's horrible. I couldn't wait to go to Bourbon Street for New Orleans. I mean for Mardi Gras back when I was a teenager, and then the first time I got to go, I was in my 20s, late 20s, and I was shocked at how crowded and nasty it was.
I bet.
Nothing against New Orleans. That's just
It was just their experience.
You know, a great experience actually is to go to Mobile. Their Mardi Gras is wonderful, and they do a pretty good job of Mardi Gras, and it's actually older than New Orleans. Do you know who had one of the first and should have been the oldest Mardi Gras in the nation?
Is it Mobile?
Birmingham.
Really?
Birmingham had the first, one of the earliest of Mardi Gras, big Mardi Gras celebrations. I think it even predates New Orleans and Mobile, but it didn't last because our weather up here was too cold.
Right.
You know, when you do it that time of year, you know, you never know what you're going to get up here.
Absolutely.
And it turns out that just in the 1890s or whenever they started Mardi Gras in Birmingham, because Birmingham was a brand new city, and it grew so fast, that's where it got the name the Magic City. It grew like magic. And they did the first Mardi Gras in like the 1890s or something, and man, it just happened to be like snowstorm and bitter cold. It was the weirdest thing. So they just dropped it.
Right. For me, and I'll tell you my experience with Bourbon Street. We didn't even try or mean to stop in New Orleans. You know, we had beignets and everything.
But that was in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, it was in Baton Rouge, but then we decided, okay, let's go to New Orleans. We were driving back home because we drove to Texas, tried to take a long road trip.
Right.
And we drove back and we had a beignets in Baton Rouge, and we decided, let's go to Bourbon Street. And this was around 11 p.m. at night.
Really?
And we parked and we walked out and in Bourbon Street, and it was so packed. People walking all over the place, trucks and cars trying to get through. You couldn't. Either you had to go and just pray that people just get out the way.
Right.
There were a lot of strip clubs that day.
Right.
And it was just a lot of stuff that I kind of like to bury in the back of my head.
Well, you know, when you get down there, when you have crowds that are that packed in an area like that, you get pickpockets and all kinds of terrible things because they got scams where you'll feel something, you look down and some guy's wiping your shoe off with a cloth, and you go, "What are you doing?" And they'll say, "I just polished your shoes. Give me $5." And if you don't, they're gonna almost assault you,
Right.
Because they're just scamming you,
Right.
And there's all kinds of stuff. And then, you've got drunks, and
A lot
every
of them.
time you got a lot of drunks, you're gonna have people getting mad at their girlfriends and boyfriends and other friends, or they're gonna think somebody's. And then you get drunks that are gonna be inappropriate with other girls that are with their boyfriend. Fights are everywhere. And I will tell you that my experience with New Orleans cops, they don't mess around. New Orleans cops, they're so used to people, and I don't know what this is, but there are people that come to New Orleans from all over the country and think that New Orleans doesn't have laws. They think that they can do anything. They can flash their boobs. They can grab people. They can be drunk in public and doing crazy things. I mean, they just believe that New Orleans has no
Law enforcement.
It doesn't have any rules. That when you're in New Orleans, anything goes. And the cops will tell you that ain't the case.
Right.
And but they have to deal with, it's one thing to deal with these people. If you go to New Orleans, you got to deal with it for a few days or a week, however long you're there. The cops in New Orleans are dealing with it 24/7.
24/7.
And
Day in and day
just
out.
wears them out. And they just get very intolerant of people. A lot of guys, I don't know what it is, but it is really hard to find a bathroom in the French Quarter because the bathrooms that are in restaurants only let you go in if you're eating in the restaurant. It's not a public bathroom that way. If you're a patron, you can go to the bathroom.
Right.
But you can't walk in off the street and go to their bathroom and walk back out. And they got people at the door to make sure you don't do that. Well, there's very few public restrooms in New Orleans around Bourbon Street and Canal Street and those places. So you got a lot of guys who'll slip between cars or go down an alleyway and just guys will do it easy. You know, women aren't not so much, but they'll do it too. Just urinate in public in the street,
Right.
in the gutter. Well, that's not acceptable. So the police will get them and take them to jail. And, you know, you'd think, well, you know, be tolerant and say, no, you can't. Well, they can't be tolerant because they're doing it 24/7.
Right, absolutely.
So I've noticed, I have a couple of friends, one guy that I know that was a New Orleans cop, and he, you know, he said they have kind of a bad reputation for being a little rough on people. But if you deal with drunks that want to fight you every time you go to work
You have
for
to.
hours, you just, you get a little intolerant of that kind of stuff. So I feel sorry for the cops. They're very professional, most of them, but they are tough, and they have to be. But I love New Orleans. You know?
Right.
I love. Let me rephrase that. I love visiting New Orleans.
There
I
you
wouldn't
go.
want to live there.
For me, walking through Bourbon Street, and even before getting there, it was packed, and it was, you know, this was prime time. This was Friday night,
Oh yeah.
11 p.m.
Yeah.
It was packed.
Basically Saturday morning. coming up.
Basically, and walking through Bourbon Street, there were people all over in the balconies yelling
yeah.
out for us, throwing beads,
Beads.
holding up signs of.
Show me your
Yeah.
accoutrements.
And for me, there was 4 of us, and I tried my best. All of us did, just try to stay together.
Yeah.
Because I mean, people are just walking in and out like worms. I'm trying to make sure I don't get lost.
Right.
Because it's
Oh,
so
yeah.
easy. Because so many bright lights thrown at you, beads.
yeah.
You can get hit in the face. You're just trying to
Well, you get hit in
maneuver
the
it.
face too by a drunk too.
Right. Anything really.
Yeah, it's a you know, the feel to me when I go to New Orleans, especially in the French Quarter, you feel a little bit like you're in another country. You feel like you're in Europe or something.
Right.
And I guess that's why some people have the feeling it's not like being in America or something when you're down there. And they do have French law, which is it's the only state in the union that has their kind of law. You know, it's not like American law; it's French law.
Really?
Yeah, I forgot what it's called. There's a name for it, but their whole system is completely different in New Orleans, and I think in that part of Louisiana. But it's amazing.
That was my only experience with Louisiana in itself, or specifically Bourbon Street.
The thing to do is, if you're going to go to New Orleans, go there planning on eating, because they have some of the most amazing restaurant experiences in the world. I mean, they have Birmingham's very lucky. Birmingham's become quite the foodie city. We've got some astounding restaurants in Birmingham that are world class. But New Orleans is known for, you know, they've been known for their restaurants for a century or more.
Right.
You know, some of the most famous dishes like Eggs Benedict and Bananas Foster dessert and all, they were all invented in New Orleans.
Really?
And you've got some of these renowned old restaurants that have been there, like Brennan's, and some of they've been there since the turn of the century. And then you've got NOLA, N-O-L-A, which stands for New Orleans, Louisiana. But NOLA, and I've forgotten some of the others that are really famous down there that become famous in the last 20 years. Great food city.
I know a lot of people give like Louisiana a lot of trouble and mess because they've had bad experiences with them, either in Bourbon Street.
It's a southern state that tends to be like Alabama and Mississippi. You've got, you know, where education is rated one of the lowest in the nation. Crime is a little higher in some places. Culturally, a lot of people look down on southern states.
Right.
But then again, you also have Cajun food.
Right.
And
there's good.
And music out of New Orleans. I mean,
sports,
look at,
you know,
New Orleans jazz, and then sports are amazing. So,
and then food, then food.
Food.
That was my experience with that. But also, I knew you wanted to talk about it. But in Texas, we went to Austin.
I love Austin.
We stopped. We drove because it's like a 15-hour drive from there.
Easy, yeah.
We stopped in Waco,
home of Dr. Pepper.
We left in the morning. Or we left that night around 10 p.m. at night, and we drove through the all night. and we got in Waco around lunchtime the next day, and we stopped at In-N-Out.
Oh, In-N-Out Burger
in Waco. My first experience, and it was the most amazing thing ever.
Well, there's a big rivalry in Texas.
Yes.
Over In-N-Out Burger versus
Whataburger.
Whataburger.
Which we have one here.
Yeah, we do. Whataburgers are phenomenal.
They are.
But there's a huge
war out there.
Out there between Whataburger, which is from Texas, and Waco is the home of Dr. Pepper. That's where Dr. Pepper was invented. Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah. The original Dr. Pepper plant is there in Waco, Texas, if I'm not mistaken. And they still make, only at that Dr. Pepper plant do they still make the Dr. Pepper syrup with cane sugar instead of high fructose corn syrup. And then, of course, Texas is also known for Bluebell ice cream.
Yes.
And it's a great.
Oh, don't worry, we indulge in that.
You know what Austin's theme is, don't you?
I do not know.
Keep Austin weird.
Really? Oh, I saw a lot of graffiti and just a lot of signs that said that, but I didn't know what that meant.
Keep Austin weird because Austin's always been known as a really quirky. Of course, it's the state capital,
right?
But it's also been known for its quirkiness. It had some great music scenes there early. You got Willie Nelson and all these guys that were the outlaws of country, a lot of them from around the Austin area. There was the famous long-running TV show, Austin City Limits. There was also the Winter brothers, Edgar Winter and Johnny Winter, the two albino guitarists and jazz musicians and rock musicians were from Austin. And then they have the famous bridge. Did you see the bats fly out from under the bridge?
Yes, we did. We made sure that was one of our things on our itinerary.
Isn't that amazing?
To do, yes,
millions of bats coming out from under that bridge. And of course, Austin has changed. The first time I ever went to Austin was in 1975, and it really wasn't a very big city. It would remind you of back then of Tuscaloosa, very small. It did have the capital, but it was not a big city. And now it's a metroplex.
Massive.
It's huge.
Massive.
And it's actually kind of merged with Austin and San Antonio, I think, are about almost one big city.
Yeah, well, I know we decided we stayed in Austin. That's where our destination was.
Right.
We went to Austin, and we also, one day, we took a trip. We woke up early and decided to go to Houston as well. And all of it, because one of our things we wanted to do was see the bats in the bridge.
Right.
And also go and walk around the University of Texas.
Yeah.
And and they do say everything is bigger in Texas, and it is true.
It really is. Have you ever seen any more huge Texas flags and American flags? And you see
everywhere.
Everywhere when you're driving, you'll just suddenly see this massive flags, 2 or 3 of them. The big garrison-sized flags, just amazing.
The portions of the food as well. We got brisket one day, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, they do a lot of brisket out there. There's a chain of restaurants called Chewy's, and there's one in Birmingham. And Chewy's home is Austin, Texas. That's where it was originated.
We decided to go to this little mom and pop.
And great food out there.
Yeah, it's the best. It really was. It was fantastic, and it wasn't really that bad in terms of weather. I would think, of course, we get bad, or not bad weather, but really hot and humid weather.
Right.
But out there, it was very, very even kill.
Was it dry too? A little dry.
It was a little
not
dry.
So humid.
It was definitely dry.
Yeah.
But I mean, people would walk around throughout the middle of the day. There was so many things to do, so many artworks.
Oh yeah.
Throughout
Austin has a big art scene, I think too. I don't know if that's also, of course, it's always attracted artists, music, and other artists. And that's one of the parts of it being weird, you know, because they always have these characters that have been out there for hundred years. But yeah, they got a great art scene, and the university doesn't hurt either that they're there. That tends to excite more of the arts and sciences, stuff.
Yeah,
and that's where they, I work for iHeart. And iHeart has always put on this, or for years, has put on the iHeart Country Music Festival. And they do it there on the campus of the University.
That would be something I would love to go to.
I've been to 2 or 3 of them. Phenomenal. I mean, the biggest names in country music in a great venue. And the music goes all day outside. And then, of course, the biggest acts come and show up on the inside in the auditorium. But Austin's a great little... I had a friend that he and his dad owned one of the early recording studios. It was called Josie Sound. And that's when I went out there in 1975, I think it was, to visit his family with him. He was a friend of mine at Alabama, Bill Josie. And they were the first people ever to record the Winter Brothers, Johnny and Edgar Winter, who later became, monsters in the 60s. So Frankenstein was one of the big hits for one of the Winter Brothers. But anyway, it's pretty neat. So a lot of, speaking of traveling, you went on your road trip. A lot of people are going to hit the road this weekend. They're sitting even with the gas prices higher than they've been in 5 years, people still want to travel. And they say, of course, the thing is, it's driving people to do more driving because it's gotten so much harder and more expensive to fly because of all this stuff. So instead of people flying somewhere for a long holiday weekend or a week, they're driving. So there's going to be an awful lot of people on the road today and through the entire weekend. And on top of that, we've got the chances of bad weather.
Yeah, so everyone please be careful.
Be really careful because I noticed there was already one wreck this morning before I left the house. I mean, way early up near Birmingham on I-5920, right in downtown, that blocked a bunch of the interstate because the roads were wet and visibility was down. So be careful. It might ease up here and there all day over the weekend, but it still could have wet roads and then those storms could come in.
I know just with the road trips and everything, I have never been on a plane and on a flight.
You never have?
I've never flown. I've never flown.
Wow.
It's always been road trips. I remember we took a road trip a long time ago, me and my family, or my grandparents. We took a road trip all the way to Maryland and to Washington, D.C., and that was a trip.
Yeah, that's a big trip.
And it's just, I don't know, something about the journey and the experience of driving, or not driving most of the time, just riding and seeing, just passing by all the scenery, stopping at Buc-ee's and everything.
Did you leave from here, from this area?
Yes, I did.
So you went up, did you go up there's 2 routes to go to Maryland. One of them's the coastal route and one of them's through the mountains. Did you do the coastal route or the Blue Ridge Parkway?
It was the coastal route. My grandfather took us on the coastal route.
So you stayed along the coast more than anything else. Yeah. Augusta, Georgia, and up that way. Yeah.
And then
they're both great routes. Anytime I've driven to Washington, D.C. or any area up that way, we kind of split it up. A lot of times we'll take depending on the weather, we'll take the mountainous, go up through the Blue Ridge Parkway and up that way going up. And then if we do that, we'll come down the coastal route or vice versa.
Yes.
That way you get both of them. But
you get both of them, yeah.
It's a long trip.
It is. I was in 5th grade, so I was very young. And I was like, oh man, I'm in this car, so many hours. Yeah. I want some food, and all the food we get, we had to get on the road and stay on the road. So we just stop at gas stations, get you something,
yeah,
and then
or
go
stop at a McDonald's or something.
Something fast.
You could eat in the car,
right?
Yeah.
But I remember I got to see at the Lincoln Memorial. I got to see the Washington Monument. So
any American that has never gone to Washington, D.C. needs to put that on their bucket list because there is something. You see them on TV, you see it in the books, you see pictures, but when you really are standing there and you see the Washington Monument, especially lit up at night, the Capitol building, the White House, all the memorials, Jefferson Memorial, Lincoln Memorial,
massive.
Even the Vietnam Memorial, is you have to be there. It's not a big showy one like the others, like Jefferson Memorial and all that. You got to walk it because it's basically a park.
Right.
And I saw where they've been cleaning, and of course it commemorates those killed in Vietnam. So that is a big one for this weekend. And there's still so many Vietnam veterans still alive that's probably going to be the biggest thing to go see Memorial Day weekend is the Vietnam Memorial. And then you've got the Marine Corps, you know, the Iwo Jima flag raising memorial there for the Marines. And if you go there and actually stand and look at it and get the perspective of it and the feel of it, the reflecting pond, and of course it's famous for so many things, including Martin Luther King's "I've Got a Dream" speech. I mean, it's just Washington D.C. And then my favorite is to go to the museums like the Smithsonian and the Natural Museum, Natural History, the Advar Hoosie extension out on the Parkway out of Washington D.C., where all the Air and Space Museum is. That is a great trip every American should try to make on their bucket list. If you're gonna, I mean, it's nice to go to the beach. It's nice to go to see, you know, Montana and see Big Sky Country and go to Texas and experience the things we've talked about this morning. But to go to Washington D.C. and see those, it's just
nothing like it.
No, and it's humbling. It really is, because you realize what's been given up for our freedoms. It's amazing. It is 7:05, 5 minutes after 7 o'clock. We're glad you're with us. Jaylen, Dollar Bill here with you on this Memorial Day Friday, going into Memorial Day weekend. We'll talk more about that and more as we continue this morning. We thank you for watching. We thank you for listening. Thank you for being with us here on Piper Peach Radio's Morning Mayhem. We'll be right back.
Looking for the perfect way to unwind, compete, and have fun with friends or family? Then Putter Up Pelham is your next destination. Whether you're a mini golf pro or just out for a good time, Putter Up offers a one-of-a-kind indoor putting experience with custom effects lighting, sounds, and robotics at each hole, plus automated scoring and a virtual caddy to guide your game. And our ADA-compliant courses include special putters for individuals using wheelchairs or walkers, so everyone can join the fun from ages 4 to 100. Rain or shine, day or night, it's always game time at Putter Up. Come for the fun, stay for the challenge. Swing by Putter Up, where every stroke counts. Traditions come and go, but excellent service and compassionate care are benchmarks in any era. That's what Ellison Memorial Funeral Home is committed to providing you. Whether through the pre-arrangement process or seeking services at your time of loss, Ellison Memorial offers a noticeable level of care and attention to detail. Others do not. So before making a decision based on yesterday's traditions, experience the Ellison difference when it comes to your loved one's final arrangements. You'll be glad you did. Call us today at 205-280-4600. Ellison Memorial Funeral Home, setting the new standard in local funeral service excellence. We are always here when you need us.
Underage drinking is deemed by many adults to be a rite of passage. Parents who host parties for youth may think they are being protective, but they are actually putting their youth at risk of physical and social consequences. Know the truth. Underage drinking and social hosting is a bad mix. For more information, contact Central Alabama Wellness, 205-651-0077, or visit centralalabamawellness.org.
Welcome back to Morning Mayhem here on Piper Peach. Me and the one and only Dollar Bill.
Yeah, my wife says it's good. There's only one of it.
I want to thank some of our sponsors, This and That Vinyl and Larry Puckett Chevrolet. So thank you.
Yeah, This and That Vinyl does our T-shirts and a lot of other specialty items, and they do a phenomenal job. They really do. And so we thank them for being sponsors, and they do a lot for us and for the community. And then, of course, Larry Puckett Chevrolet has the biggest selection of pre-loved and pre-used cars in the area. So if you're looking for not wanting to buy a brand new car,
that's the place to go.
It's a way to do it too, because a new car is wonderful. I mean, and fun, but the minute you drive that car off the lot, sometimes
depreciates.
You want to keep it for a while,
right?
But if you're looking for dependable transportation and a nice car or something fancy that you can't afford new, Larry Puckett. Check it out. They've got lots of different selections. Cars, trucks, vans, everything.
I've never heard of the expression pre-loved.
Pre-loved.
I may steal that from you.
Yeah, you should.
There we go. There is some news out there. Yesterday, it was reported that the legendary NASCAR driver Kyle Busch, he did pass away at age 41, so very young.
What happened to him?
Yesterday morning, I got the report that he had been hospitalized for an unknown illness, and he was supposed to race this weekend.
Right.
And I saw an interview that's saying that he called a doctor, said, I need to be checked out. And so he got checked out. His team installed a new driver. He was going to race for this weekend, and he got hospitalized yesterday morning. And it came out, I remember it was around 5 o'clock yesterday when I got the message and the alert that Kyle Busch had.
What killed him?
No, we have no idea.
Oh.
It was some sort of illness.
I wonder if it was a heart attack.
They did not disclose any of that yet. They're trying to keep
41 is awful young.
Yes.
These guys are usually in really good shape. You know, they're athletes.
Right.
If you've ever driven a race car around a Talladega, like I did the Jared racing experience. Holy cow, that's a lot harder, hotter, and more demanding than I ever thought it was. I have new respect for those guys, but 41 is awful young.
Right. Yes, he does. He does have a wife and two kids. Very sad for them. He won NASCAR Cup Series championships in 2015 and 2019, and finished his career with 63 Cup Series wins. He is the most winningest driver in NASCAR.
Is he really? I didn't know that. Kyle Busch?
Yeah, with 69 wins. He just won a couple weeks ago.
Wow, I didn't know he was ranked that high. It's the highest.
Oh yeah, I mean he was going to be surely in the Hall of Fame, and
well, he will be, I'm sure.
He
now.
definitely
but
will
sad thing
now.
is it'll be posthumously.
Right.
Yeah, 41's really young. I mean, I know somebody in their teens or 20s thinks 41's up there. As a guy at 73, looking back, that's about middle aged for me. You know, so
yeah,
young.
I had the great honor to meet Kyle Busch last year at last fall in Talladega Speedway. So he was a really good man. So
Was he nice too?
Oh, he was very nice.
Yeah.
You know, I was just
I've never heard bad things much about Kyle.
No, I was just job shadowing one of my other mentors because he worked for NASCAR, and we had built this big stage just to have for our fans to come and see our drivers who would be we would interview them. We'd play games with them, and one of them was Kyle Busch, and he was very nice. He made sure to come shake all of our hands, but backstage, and also
nice.
to interact with the fans. So it was really nice.
Well, it's so sad for his family, 2 children and a wife, and a lot of fans. So that's really shocking. 41 years of age to pass away. That's too young.
Right.
I'm kind of, I don't know what it is. It's not, I don't know. It's not morbid, but it is in a way. You always want to know when someone dies that young, and it wasn't obviously in a crash or anything.
No, it was not.
I don't know why it matters, but you want to know what happened to
Right.
them. It's I guess it's just human curiosity.
Right.
But at 41, and a guy that should be in pretty good shape and everything calls and says, I need to be checked out. You wonder what did it.
Right, especially since he was supposed to race this weekend.
This weekend, yeah. This was out of the blue.
Right.
This is not, he hadn't been ill for a while or anything.
It said he just fallen under a severe illness. There hasn't been much. They want to keep it close to the family. But I remember seeing, after the news had broke out, everywhere on social media, it was, tributes.
Sure. Well, yeah, he was a big star in NASCAR. I mean, he was a huge. I didn't know he was the winningest.
Yeah, he won a lot.
Are you a big NASCAR fan?
I wasn't until I started to, I went to Talladega and everything.
It hooked you.
It did, and I remember I got the opportunity to walk on the track, and it was one of the steepest tracks in NASCAR, and it was
You can't
brutal.
walk on it very high.
I couldn't. It was very brutal.
I can remember when they built that track. I was in junior high school. I guess this is in the 60s. And I remember on the news every night they talked about how impossible it seemed to be to pave it. They had no way of figuring. They had not figured out how to pave a track with that much bank.
Right.
And so I remember one of the ways they paved it was they had cranes on the outside of the business of the track, and they would hook the line of the crane to the front of a paving truck, and they would literally pull it up and let it go down, because there was no way they moved so, if you go under, is it 40 miles an hour and you get up in the 20, 30 degrees of banking,
something
you'll
around
just
that.
roll over. If you don't have centrifugal force, your car will simply roll over, because it's like being on the side of a wall. Now, when I did my Jared driving experience, I got to do 8 laps.
Oh, wow.
And, you're in the car with a race car driver, but you're driving. And all you do is they tell you when you get ready to go, you just put your foot to the floor, and you'll never take your foot up off the floor the entire time. Once you punch the gas pedal down, you might as well just nail it to the floor, because you don't touch it till you finish. Never let up.
Really?
So, yeah, because what you're doing is these cars you're building, that first time around the track, I went like 100 miles an hour average. Second lap, 110. Third lap, 140. Fourth lap, 155. So you're building. And I think I got up to 180, something like that. That was my fastest. And, they also teach you that you have to go to school before they let you drive.
Right.
And you learn that you've got to keep doing this with your hands. And what I'm doing, if you're listening and not watching, is you're opening and shutting your hands on the steering wheel, because you don't want a death grip. Because if you hold that thing with a death grip and your hands lock up on it, you can't tell what you're doing. You don't have any finesse. And if you blow a tire or had a wreck, that they tell you, if you blow a tire while you're going 180 miles an hour, or if anything goes wrong, you take your hand off the steering wheel and you grab your harness and hang on.
Really?
You don't know. You get your hands off that wheel, because it will actually break your fingers and break your hands or arms. And if you'll ever notice in these in cameras, when a race car driver has a wreck or blows a tire, if you'll see them, their hands come off the wheel immediately, and they'll hit the wheel like with the palms of their hands. That's the only way they can try to keep some kind of control, but they don't grab it, because it'll break their
breaks their fingers.
Yeah. So that was a little scary. And the guy's over there next to me, and he gives you instructions on, and he wanted me to get closer and closer to the upper wall. And I'm flying around that track at 178 miles an hour, whatever. And I'm just focused on that track, and it's terrifying, exhilarating, but terrifying. And as I come flying up that thing, when you look out your left window, you're in the driver's seat. You look out your left window, you really feel like you're up on a 100-foot wall looking straight down. You're looking, because you're up so high. Right. And he would go, take his thumb and say, get closer to the wall. And I already thought I was scraping it. And I thought I was too close as it was. So when we finished my run, it was exciting. I was getting ready to get out of the car, and he said, listen, I got to take the car. The race car driver said, got out of his side. I was getting out of my side. He said, I got to take the car over and fill it full of gas and then run a few laps to burn it down a little. Because what they do is they fill it up, but then they don't want it full when the next driver comes in. Right. So they'll fill it up and then burn off some gas doing about 5 or 6 laps. He said, you want to ride with me? And I said, yeah. So we switched places. I got over on the passenger side, which, by the way, had this piece of a seat. There's no seat there in a regular race car. Yeah. They put this piece of a seat in there and a little belt. And if we had wrecked, it's like, oh, I'm dead. Right. But anyway, we went and got gas, and then he drove me around the track about 6 or 8 laps. The professional race car driver. Holy cow. I couldn't believe it. We'd slide up. There are no side view mirrors on race cars, because if there was, they'd scrape them off on the wall.
Oh, they would just be destroyed.
All there was no window. It was just that webbing on my side. I could have taken a Sharpie pen or a pencil and just barely stuck it out the window and write my name on the wall. We were literally a half inch from the wall, a half an inch. I was astounded. And then, of course, there was another guy out there, professional race car driver, driving his car doing the same thing. So since they were out there and there were no students on the track, they decided to play. And so he said, you ever been in a race car and bumped it, when we were bumping, how they say bumping and grinding? I said, no. Well, he called his buddy on the radio and said, I'm coming up behind you. He goes, okay. We're going 195 miles an hour or something like that, near 200. He goes, boom, 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 bangs him, and then he goes around and passes him, and he goes, bang, 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 and bounces. I'm about to do the poopy in the pants thing. So we knew coming back. And those guys, I was so focused on driving at 180 miles an hour. They're going 200 miles an hour, and they're like cleaning their teeth and laughing and looking around. Mm-hmm. Just amazing skill. So it's astounding.
I bet that was. You have some of the most interesting stories I've ever heard.
Well, I've been lucky because, I would not have doing the Jared driving experience is like $300, $400, $500. I don't know. It's expensive.
Right, I bet.
Well, but I got it for free.
There we go.
It's like I've gotten to do a lot of things because of broadcasting. So you can talk negative about a lot of stuff in radio about how hard it is and how long the hours are and how bad the pay may be. But you also meet a lot of artists. You get to go to cool concerts and stuff. You get the best. You get to stand backstage with them. You get to go right. So there's a lot of trade-offs, and so I've been very blessed to have had some amazing life experiences because of radio, including, of course, getting my brain stomped out by a bull in 20-something years ago.
I remember that story.
Yeah, that was bad. But, that's one out of a few. So it is 7:21. It's 21 minutes after 7. We want to talk about our Memorial Day thoughts coming up in just a few minutes because, this is a lot of people kind of confuse Memorial Day with Veterans Day. Although we always recognize our veterans and what they've done for us and do for us, the freedoms we have because of their service, Memorial Day is about those who gave the ultimate gift to us. They've died for their cause, for their fight. They died for our freedoms. We'll talk about that coming up and so much more on this Memorial Day weekend Friday. It's about still 69 degrees or so outside.
Still the same.
Going to be rainy and stormy this afternoon, perhaps. We'll get you updated on that as well. It is 7:22. We're here at Piper Peach Radio's Morning Mayhem. Dollar Bill and Jaylen with us. Stay with us.
Looking for the perfect way to unwind, compete, and have fun with friends or family? Then Putter Up Pelham is your next destination. Whether you're a mini golf pro or just out for a good time, Putter Up offers a one-of-a-kind indoor putting experience with custom effects lighting, sounds, and robotics at each hole, plus automated scoring and a virtual caddy to guide your game. And our ADA-compliant courses include special putters for individuals using wheelchairs or walkers, so everyone can join the fun from ages 4 to 100. Rain or shine, day or night, it's always game time at Putter Up. Come for the fun, stay for the challenge. Swing by Putter Up, where every stroke counts. Traditions come and go, but excellent service and compassionate care are benchmarks in any era. That's what Ellison Memorial Funeral Home is committed to providing you, whether through the pre-arrangement process or seeking services at your time of loss. Ellison Memorial offers a noticeable level of care and attention to detail. Others do not. So before making a decision based on yesterday's traditions, experience the Ellison difference when it comes to your loved one's final arrangements. You'll be glad you did. Call us today at 205-280-4600. Ellison Memorial Funeral Home, setting the new standard in local funeral service excellence. We are always here when you need us.
Underage drinking is deemed by many adults to be a rite of passage. Parents who host parties for youth may think they are being protective, but they are actually putting their youth at risk of physical and social consequences. Know the truth. Underage drinking and social hosting is a bad mix. For more information, contact Central Alabama Wellness, 205-651-0077, or visit centralalabamawellness.org.
Seven 24 minutes after 7 o'clock. Memorial Day weekend coming up, and this is Friday heading into it. Traffic's going to be a nightmare today, probably on I-65, and a lot of people are hitting the road, so be careful this whole weekend. Don't drink and drive. A lot of people might, even with the weather, be on the lakes and rivers, so be careful there. We have Corey Clements here with us. Corey, good to have you in here this morning. Thank you for coming by. Now, you're the Superintendent of Schools of Chilton County, is that
sir.
what it is?
That's correct.
How many schools are in the Chilton County system?
We have 12 schools, Career Technical Center, and alternative schools, so 14 school buildings.
That's a big, y'all have a big system.
We do, around 7,800 students. The last time we were 25th or 26th largest school system in the state of Alabama.
I did not know, out of what,
139.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a, wow.
67 county systems,
Yes.
72 city systems, 139 total. So we're
You
somewhere
are a
around
math teacher.
25 to 26.
Let's just throw all these numbers out there. So, Corey, I was asking you, I know your people love you around here. You just re-elected as,
Yeah, one Republican.
congratulations.
One Republican primary Tuesday night.
Right.
No opposition.
No opposition. So you're in.
November.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And it shows people have a great feeling for what you're doing in your position, and that's got to make you feel good. You grew up in Thorsby. You went to Thorsby High School, taught at Thorsby High School, principal of the school. So you know the area, you know Chilton County very well. How healthy is the system right now? I mean, I know there's a lot of challenges all the time in education. These last few years have really thrown some curveballs to you. How are things right now? How do you feel about how things are at this moment?
Well, one of my best friends was been my Sunday school teacher for a long time, and he would always, one of his sayings was, "Life's about direction and not perfection."
Right.
And so I feel like we're headed in the right direction in so many areas. School academic report card scores the highest they've ever been in the last 2 years. Good. Financially, we're in a good spot. A ton of facility upgrades going on. We've been able financially to give back to our employees with bonuses all 3 years that I've been in office. And I was at a graduation last night. I know you know where Isabella is.
Oh, Isabella, love that school.
Small school, 46 kids graduating, and they accepted $1.2 million in scholarships. That was accepted, not
offered.
Not
that was actually taken
offered.
up.
That was the real number, and so really pleased with the direction that we're headed, and just a lot of good things going on right now that we're excited to see come to fruition over the next few years.
That is amazing. And speaking of Isabella, I first saw that school 30 years ago, and I was driving to it. They invited me down to do an event or something, and I kept going out in the woods. I thought, there's no way there's any school. I mean, I was in the woods, and I come around a curve, and there's this beautiful building. It's like a spaceship dropped it down. I love Isabella. It's a small school, but boy, it seems like they have a lot of good things going for them.
It's a healthy community, and the community revolves around the school building. The churches are very involved there, and just
Maplesville seems the same way to me too.
Well, all of our community schools are like
true.
that. Really, the town kind of revolves around school life. And we're very blessed in that regard. You're right.
Corey, let me ask you this. As far as the county is concerned, is financing a problem in Chilton County for education, or is it pretty well, do people support it pretty well?
Well, we're funded at the state minimum at the 10 mil requirement for the foundation program. Right. And so we have to be creative. we have to be good stewards of what we have. We've never asked for, additional taxes or anything like that. We do receive a portion of sales tax, which our county commission was good enough to do before I ever took office, and so I don't want to say we have an abundance,
right?
But
you never have an abundance.
We manage with what we're given. We're grateful for what we're given, and we don't look for excuses. We look for ways to figure out how to do things. In the last couple of years, that's been through grant funding and things like that. But we're blessed. We're blessed to live here, and you won't ever hear me complaining about lacking things. It's my job to find ways to get things done.
Corey, all my life I grew up in Alabama. All my life we always heard, thank God for Mississippi. And when the numbers would come out, Alabama in education was usually way down there. But I've noticed in the last couple of years, especially this last year, we've started showing some pretty strong numbers, beating out many other parts of the country when it comes to raising our numbers with reading, with literacy, with the graduation rates. That's got to make you feel better about things.
Yeah, 3 years ago when the Literacy Act passed, the K-3 Literacy Act, there was a lot of apprehension, and it's really a credit to our teachers and parents and students
right.
that they've seen how the bar's been raised, and they've met these challenges, and like you mentioned, over the last couple of years, when you look at mathematics growth and reading growth compared to the rest of the United States, I think don't quote me on this,
right.
but I think last year Alabama was second in the nation in mathematics growth.
Really?
Yeah.
And I think that's right.
That's got to make you, as a former math teacher, feel pretty good.
It does, and I'm not as up on my statewide data
right.
really as I should be as I am locally.
Sure.
So I think that's correct. Dr. Mackey's done an outstanding job leading our state school system. He has a good state school board that supports him, and the legislature under Governor Ivey's leadership has been very supportive of public education. And I used to say when I was a principal that if we didn't have the town, the churches, and the school all pulling in the same direction, then it was hard to get a lot done because there were so few resources in a small town like Thorsby. It took everybody working together, and I think the same thing holds true at the state level.
Right.
If you don't have the governor, the legislature, the State Department of Education, and then some other entities all working together, it's hard to get a lot done. But I think you've seen that over the last 4 years at the state level that a lot's got accomplished.
I've never understood why it's frustrating that so much money can be put in many things, but sometimes education is one of the lower priorities, whereas education should be the top priority because it's the future of everything we've got. And you just, you want to be proud of what you're doing for your children and your community, your state. What's the biggest challenge you look at right now? If you had to sit down and somebody just say, what are you looking for? What's the biggest challenge you have right now?
We're meeting it head on. Career tech education and workforce development is a nationwide issue.
Right.
And our specific problems here have been we've been limited by space and availability.
Really?
With just being able, we have waiting lists for
this is for career development.
We have waiting lists for our career tech courses, and our current career tech center is packed. We have nowhere to go. So we had our largest career tech enrollment this year. We had over 500 students at our career tech center, but we want that number to be between 800 and 1,000. And so, one of the things I've been on the show and talked about a couple of times already is we're building a new career tech center, and it's going to be located on property deeded to us by the two-year college system with Jeff State. We're going to work together with Jeff State for dual enrollment and trying to do some special things with our welding and our nursing programs, and meet specific needs for for the jobs that are available to people in our county. Where the school system is the largest employer in Chilton County, but we have a auto manufacturer is the second leading employer that is very close behind us, only about 25 employees behind us once their most recent upgrades come. So we've added a modern manufacturing program at our Career Tech Center that's going to specifically prepare kids for careers in auto manufacturing. And then another huge need that we have we have a top-notch hospital here.
Yeah, we do.
Run by a Thorsby graduate, Shannon Hamilton.
Really?
Yeah, Shannon and I graduated together in 1993, and does a fantastic job. And one of our most popular programs is our health science and nursing program.
Very good.
And so when our new center is built, we're going to partner with Jeff State, and we want our nursing students to graduate high school with their RN degree through an RN certificate or licensure through Jeff State University. And we'll be the first school system in the state that's able to offer that once all of this is in place. And so it's very exciting, and like I said, there are challenges when people get so confused when they see unemployment rates,
right,
and they see how low unemployment is. Well, unemployment and workforce participation are two very different things, and what we need to address is the workforce participation numbers and why we're not able to pursue high-paying jobs within a 30 to 45-mile radius where our people can drive.
Yeah, people forget that those who have just kind of given up on looking for jobs disappear from that number.
They do.
So there may be far more people unemployed than that number seems to show. Corey, when you're of course, you're a lot younger than me. You graduated high school what year?
93.
Oh, yeah, you're way. But let me tell you, when I was coming up, the goal for a lot of high school students was simply college degree.
Yeah.
Well, when I went to Alabama, I finished at Alabama. It wasn't hideously expensive. I had jobs, and I came out of school with no debt. I was broke, but I didn't have any debt. Now college has become one of the most expensive undertakings, even for a state school. Junior colleges have exploded because they do offer a lot of value for the money to get at least an associate degree. So now the question is, college may not be for everybody. We used to think everyone should, should get a college degree. Well, now what happens if you come out with a degree in sociology, you don't want to teach or whatever, and you've got a debt of, $200,000. Yet a guy can learn welding or automotive, and they can literally come out just a year or two out of high school making great money. And some of them can even be trained and be paid while they're being trained, or get a job while they're training. That's got to be what you're looking at for a lot of this in Chilton County, because a lot of kids could learn a great skill that's applicable instead of coming out with a degree that's not. Yeah,
and you make a great point. We forget so many times that schools are for students. They're not for adults. If we didn't have schools, we wouldn't. If we didn't have students, we wouldn't need schools.
Right.
And the last PARCA data that I looked at in Chilton County, about 15 or 16% of the population held a 4-year degree. Wow. And then when you take that and realize that only about 40% of our graduates are able to get a career tech certification, when you add those two numbers together, when you add 16% and 40% together, you get our labor participation rate.
There you go.
For our county, and so
which is up in the 60%.
Yeah, and so there's the disconnect. We've got to do a better job, and certainly the college prep work is so important. We'd never want to neglect that, but we have to do a better job on the career tech side. And one of the things we've done, if I hope you don't mind me.
No, you're here to tell us what we need to hear.
One of the things we've done is we've placed career coaches in each of our schools.
Brilliant.
And we did have 3 to 4 career coaches that would rotate with our schools. They didn't really build a lot of bonds with their students. Right. They were just kind of helping students do paperwork. So we placed one at each of our schools, and they don't move there. Well, four of our schools are K-12 schools. At Verbena, Maplesville, Isabella, and Thorsby.
They go K through 12?
We're actually pre-K through 12.
Wow.
And then at our Jemison and Clanton schools, we have feeder programs. And so what our career coaches have done is they're actually going down to the elementary school level, and in the elementary and intermediate school level, we're doing career exploration. We're letting our kids know that there's more out there than just maybe what mom and dad do for a living,
right.
Or everybody wants to be a teacher because all we know is we're with the teacher 7 or 8 hours a day. And then once we do career exploration, then we move into the middle school grade where we're doing career investigation. And what would I be interested in? What career is a good fit for me? And then when we move into high school, then we start looking at internships. Yes. and really applying, can I co-op and work at a job that I really feel like I'm interested in. One of the career tech programs that's very popular here with us is the utility line program. There's so many young men that want to go to work for Alabama Power or one of the associated companies, and so we want to let kids know, hey, this is the pathway, and here's how we can help you. And by the time they get to 9th and 10th grade, we want to let them know that this course is available at our Career Tech Center. And look, I'll be honest with you. At 16 years old, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had no clue, but that was never targeted. There was never an adult to sit down with me and say, okay, let's talk about.
Right. Well, that's what you're doing is you're focusing at a younger age on them at least considering, what do I want to do for, I never thought about it. I was going through elementary and junior high school was just social to me, and learning arithmetic and reading and writing, spelling, and I wasn't thinking down the road.
We
but
do
it really is smart.
We do our schoolwork so our mom and dad won't get mad at us. And I learned to
forge my dad's signature on the notes they sent off. But I'm good at that, by the way. To this day, my signature looks like my dad's. But anyway, if you start at least considering what you might want to do, and I think that helps a lot because I have friends, and I was the same way. I went all the way into college, not thinking I wanted to do something, but turns out I didn't want to. So here's the deal.
Same.
You start thinking about what you want to do earlier, it'll gel, or at least it'll teach you, maybe I want to do something I want to do rather than something I'm supposed to do or think I should want to do.
Yeah. Or maybe it will prevent mom and dad from spending $50,000 or $60,000 on something
that they don't need. That it's unapplicable.
You're gonna say, hey, I've changed my mind.
Right.
I don't want to do that. Now I want to do this.
I had to go home my senior year at Alabama and tell my dad, Dr. Lawson, the dentist and oral surgeon, that I did not want to be a dentist. And he said, I understand that. That's a tough job. What do you want to do? And he's thinking I'm going to say MD, something, surgeon, whatever. I told him I want to be a radio announcer. That was not a pleasant night in the Lawson household. Now it worked out. And I will tell you this, had I gone into dentistry, I'd have been not only the worst dentist on earth, I'd have been miserable. So it all worked out for the better. And, this thing now with kids coming out of college, now if you need to have college for what you want to do, I mean, if you're going into any profession, you got to have college to even consider it, that's fine. But I still hate that they come out with a debt of hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes. But to do that and then it not even be applicable, and then when you come out, if you're doing something that pays really poorly or you can't get a job and you have that debt, that's disastrous. And, I've been amazed at what the money and the good long careers you can have in some of these. And, like you were talking about with Alabama Power and some of these other companies that kids want to work for, if they come out of school and they just are one of the million that are going to apply for a job with these companies, and they don't have any specific training or anything on their resume that says that's something they've learned a little bit about. They're just in the crowd. But if you come out like you're planning with these kids that have already taken advanced courses in high school, bingo.
Yeah,
puts them ahead of so many others.
And they're not just trained and ready. They're also making connections over those 2 years with the right people through our instructors and our career.
So it'd be almost like an intern program,
Yes,
really, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is.
That is amazing. Yeah. With education diversifying, does that make it more difficult? I mean, you've already talked about, you're not exactly flush with money. You're making do with what you got. You're doing a great job of that. But now, with development in these areas, and you've already said you need more space, you need more equipment, you need more different instructors. How do you work that out with this expansion that's needed?
It's a challenge. It's a challenge. You have to prioritize things. I guess 3 years ago, school systems are required by law every 5 years to create a strategic plan. And most of the time, that's just checking a box. It's something we create, and then we set it on the shelf for 5 years.
And just redo it.
And then we copy and paste the next 5 years. Well, when we did that in 2023, we sat down with our community members, our stakeholders, and we tried to emphasize that this is your document. You build this. This is not what the superintendent wants to do. This is not what the Board of Education wants to do. It's what the community wants to do. And we had 6 meetings in all 6 of our communities. Then we formed a steering committee. We had educators, students, community members, and they drew our strategic plan. And I'm a math brain. I'm not a visionary, but if you give me a plan, I can do point A, point B, point C, point D. And so our community gave us a plan with priorities on it, and we've attacked those things. And we're still in the process of attacking it, but we took what the people of this community said were priorities, and that became my priority list, because I'm an elected official, and I'm a servant of the people, and what the people prioritize, that's what I need
your
to
job
prioritize.
to fulfill that.
And certainly I use my professional judgment on a lot of things. There's things you can and can't do, and funding you can only use in certain ways. But that when you do that, it makes making the tough decisions a little bit easier when I'm trying to decide between this thing and this thing, and
the community wants you to go a certain
95% of that steering committee said, hey, this is important to us. It makes your decision a little bit easier.
A little bit. It's a lot of decisions, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's 7:47. It's a kind of a gray morning. It's going to be a chance of thunder showers. We'll be back with Corey to talk more about education in Chilton County. This is fascinating and so important. So we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Looking for the perfect way to unwind, compete, and have fun with friends or family? Then Putter Up Pelham is your next destination. Whether you're a mini golf pro or just out for a good time, Putter Up offers a one-of-a-kind indoor putting experience with custom effects lighting, sounds, and robotics at each hole, plus automated scoring and a virtual caddy to guide your game. And our ADA-compliant courses include special putters for individuals using wheelchairs or walkers, so everyone can join the fun from ages 4 to 100. Rain or shine, day or night, it's always game time at Putter Up. Come for the fun, stay for the challenge. Swing by Putter Up, where every stroke counts. Traditions come and go, but excellent service and compassionate care are benchmarks in any era. That's what Ellison Memorial Funeral Home is committed to providing you, whether through the pre-arrangement process or seeking services at your time of loss. Ellison Memorial offers a noticeable level of care and attention to detail. Others do not. So before making a decision based on yesterday's traditions, experience the Ellison difference when it comes to your loved one's final arrangements. You'll be glad you did. Call us today at 205-280-4600. Ellison Memorial Funeral Home, setting the new standard in local funeral service excellence. We are always here when you need us.
Underage drinking is deemed by many adults to be a rite of passage. Parents who host parties for youth may think they are being protective, but they are actually putting their youth at risk of physical and social consequences. Know the truth. Underage drinking and social hosting is a bad mix. For more information, contact Central Alabama Wellness, 205-651-0077, or visit centralalabamawellness.org.
We are back at 7:50, 10 away from 8 o'clock, about 70 degrees outside. Corey Clements here with us, the superintendent of Chilton County Schools. How long have you been superintendent now?
3.5 years.
So you will start your 4th year. You just got the election because you're unopposed and got the Republican election. Have you seen a lot of change in direction that you're going to have to address just in the last 3.5 years? Is it much different now than it was 3.5 years ago?
Yeah, the requirements that are placed on our classroom teacher, no one ever says you have to do this now, but we're going to take this away because we're adding this to you. That never happens from the state level. It's always something additional on top
of everything you're already doing.
And it gets more and more difficult, especially for our K through 3 teachers. From my side, I have to try to stay mindful of that the job is changing so much for those people. Really, K through 5 because they're affected by the Numeracy Act, but then K through 3 having to deal with Numeracy Act and Literacy Act, which is state legislation and state law that we have no choice in how we do those things.
Corey, explain to me what that means.
So the Numeracy Act is, like I said, it was signed into law, I think 3 years ago, and it requires that all 3rd grade students be reading at or above grade level by 3rd grade, or they have to repeat 3rd grade. And so the amount of pressure placed on a 3rd grade teacher is, I can't imagine that and they initially set cut scores for what, and it's all measured by one test. It's measured by the ACAP test that they take at the end of in the spring of their 3rd grade year, and the cut score was set, and it increases every year. And so as the years go by, the cut score increases.
And they expect, parents and the system kind of expects these teachers to hit 100% pass, right?
Well, that's what you want now. There are, it gets really complicated, and I'm going to bore y'all. I'm sorry. There are what you call good cause exemptions. There are some students that
special needs, perhaps,
that may have some kind of
learning
special
disability,
special need that they won't be retained. They're given what's called a good cause exemption, and then we have summer learning camps that those that don't make a qualifying score go to. Some can do portfolios, and so eventually there's a good plan in place to get 100% of our students
to go to the 4th grade,
promoted to the 4th grade.
Wow.
And with the Numeracy Act, there's not a retention piece to that, but the expectation is that all of our 5th grade students will be at or above grade level by the time they finish 5th grade in mathematics. And
that's just math.
that's just math.
Okay.
And so
Numeracy, yeah.
And so, like I said, there's of course, there's a state office that oversees both of those things, and they expect when they come to an elementary classroom, it takes a lot of the autonomy away from that teachers used to have. When they come into your classroom, they expect to see these things going on, instruction being done this way, and it's very different than when any of us were in elementary school. And so as an administrator and as a district leader, I have to be aware of all those things and make sure that that we're not doing extra things to just put even more things
on these poor teachers.
On these teachers, and then you throw in, like I said, we have 4 K through 12 schools where you're dealing with the Numeracy Act and Literacy Act on this end, and then on the other end, you've got 17 and 18-year-old problems that you're dealing with.
Adolescents.
And then we were hit with legislation, the Focus Act that bans cell phones in schools. So we were dealing with that. Like I said, and that was more an upper grade level problem. While at the same time you're dealing with those things, and so it's a challenge, and I'll say this: being a classroom teacher is more difficult now than it's ever been before.
Does the state have or the county have a budget for chamomile tea and tranquilizers for these poor teachers? That's they are so important, and you hear this said, but when you really think about it, a child's developmental years, they talk about the first 10 years of their life are so important. And of course, if you've got K or pre-K through 3rd grade, that is a majority of their life. Yeah. That tells you how important these teachers are for these kids, because a lot of kids come from less structured home. If they got a single parent that's working or both parents are working, these poor kids, they're having to, they don't have a lot of structure sometimes until they're in school. And so it's so important, and it just kills me that these poor teachers are under that kind of stress and strain. What's the retention rate for those teachers in the younger ages like that? Is there a lot of turnover, or do you retain a lot of them?
No, there's not a lot of turnover. Our retention rate
is good
for first year teachers is around 90%.
Oh, good.
Oh, wow.
But saying that, it's almost like going into the ministry. You don't go into this business
for money.
You're not going to money
you're not doing
or
it for
accolades.
Nope.
It's a calling, and so we may see people later in life that leave this. I hate to call it a business, but leave this field. But like I said, I think people are called into this.
I think you're right.
And even if they have a bad experience, I think they stick with it because they feel like it's something they're called or led to do.
Most of these teachers I've talked to, and I'll ask them what we're talking to you about, like how do you handle, these kids and stuff in this world nowadays? It's so different in so many ways. And they'll all tell you that's for the kids. I mean, they really do have a calling that is of a higher purpose than a lot of people think. Because as you said, they didn't go in they knew they weren't going to make any money, and they do it because it's something they really feel is important and they want to do. And that's a jewel.
Yeah. I think the trick is, or the magic bullet, whatever you want to call it. If the three of us wrote down, hey, who was your favorite teacher, top 3 teachers, we're going to write down the teachers that loved us,
yep,
that poured into us,
yep,
that
inspired us, supported us.
We're not really going to talk about the content much,
right?
And now so much pressure is placed on the content and the structure of the classroom and the way things are being done. We got to be careful that we don't lose that relational piece that makes teachers special.
Yeah.
And
the relationship.
Yeah. And that's where I say, look, where I think we're blessed that teaching's a calling, because I think 9 times out of 10 that comes through. Even if we sit in here and I'm boring you to death talking
that's fascinating.
talking about trigonometry or something
well,
like that.
You wouldn't bore me. You'd lose me.
You hope that it still comes through in my words and my deeds that
Right.
I care about you. And when I was at Thorsby, it was one of the great things. You would have a football game on Friday night, and the kindergarten and first grade teachers would be there to watch the kids that
they had taught.
They taught when they were in
Right.
kindergarten.
10 years before or whatever.
In first grade. And, you go to a graduation and there's, I say the K-12s, it's even like that at Jemison and Clanton in our feeder patterns. I think of one teacher in particular that if you go to a Chilton County High School event, she's there just because those are
her kids,
her
those
babies,
are her babies.
doing those things.
I love that.
And so it's so tricky. But on the other side of it, like I said, it's really not tricky for those people because I come from a family of educators. My whole family is educators, and I understand. Like I said, you're led to do this.
It's the passion.
You're led to do this.
It's a passion.
Yeah.
Very good.
Jaylen had some questions
Yeah,
for me.
Jaylen, I was gonna say.
Over these last few years, for you specifically, what lessons have you feel like you've learned that has helped you and that will help you?
Professionally, or is that?
It could be anything, really.
I've learned to be very guarded with, what. I've always had a small circle. I don't have a lot of close friends, but the ones I have are rock solid. And I've learned to be very guarded personally with anything that I share. I'm in the public eye, and I'm the superintendent 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's no. I take this jacket. I take this jacket off.
You always keep it on,
and I don't have to do this till Monday morning. So I have to be very. You have to be on all the time. It's made me. I appreciate the time that I get with my family, way more than I have before. My kids are getting older. I got a sophomore in college, and then I got an 8th grader.
Wow.
And so I try to be a little more intentional with the time I spend with my family, because just like I told you, I may get a phone call at 9 o'clock at night that tells me there's one of my school buildings has got a pipe busted and flooding, and I got to get there. So when I'm with my wife and my kids, I got to be present, because I could be pulled away at any time. And but those are good things. Those are good things. Obviously being new to a job, I'd never done it. In January 1st of 2023, I'd never been superintendent before.
Right.
And probably took me 3 or 4 months to be comfortable in that role. But I can tell you, now I feel really comfortable coming to work every day. I feel like this is my job. I don't feel like I'm in somebody else's office.
Right.
It's yours now.
When I first started, I was like, this is Mr. Griffin's office.
Right.
This is not.
He was your predecessor.
Yeah. This is his chair and his folders and stuff. And I take a little more ownership now, I guess.
Was that learning curve tough for you at first?
Yes, because I'm a perfectionist by nature, and I'm very math oriented. Like I said, like I want to do the right thing and do it immediately. And luckily, Mr. Griffin had built a really good team at the central office of people that, if I'm not there, they can make it work even without me. And so like I said, he had built a really strong administrative team, and they helped tremendously, but it was a huge learning curve. Of course, I have a degree in instructional leadership, and so I was familiar with a lot of things, but until you're actually making the decisions about them and you're seeing the numbers, it's a totally different thing.
It's like parenthood. It's an on-the-job learning experience.
Yeah, and I was listening to a podcast Dan Bongino was doing, talking about leadership one day, and he was talking about being in charge, and he said, look, by the time a problem makes it to the top, it's complicated, because if it was simple,
it'd have been fixed.
Somebody else would have fixed it down the line. So by the time an issue gets to me, it's normally really, really complicated, and it's something somebody's never done before. And so to that end, the learning curve's still going.
Right.
I mean, I'll have something, the next time something big makes its way to me, it'll be something I've never heard of before. And
never thought of it.
And by nature, you want to appear like, oh, I've got this. I know what to do. Here's what we're going to do. But sometimes you just have to stop and say, okay, I'm not ashamed to say,
this is something I've never seen before.
I don't have this answer right now. You're going to have to give me a minute. I'm going to have to call a couple of people that I respect. I've had to call my mentor. I've had to call some fellow superintendents. Have you ever seen anything like this? And so I hope that never stops. I hope I never
stop learning.
Don't have a challenge and never stop learning.
Right, man.
That's a great question. That was a great question.
Yeah. You know, you've been a teacher, you've been a principal, and now you're superintendent of schools. What's your thoughts? It's very personal and a little bit confrontational about cell phones in the classroom. I've got a real strong feeling about it, but I want to hear what you think about it.
So I'll give you a non-answer. I guess. As an administrator and a classroom teacher, I think they're a tremendous distraction. I think that they're being abused. I think students can use them easily to find answers to work, to cheat, to communicate to one another, to do things that cause disruptions throughout the whole school. I get all of that. You know, I understand all of that. I also understand, as a parent, in the event of an emergency, parents want to know their kid's okay. And I don't know how you ride that fine line there, but you know, if you're a mom, and we had a situation where we went on lockdown at one of our schools not long ago, and you know, everything was fine, everyone was safe, but there were a lot of people that wanted to just get a text message or a screenshot that, hey, I'm fine, we're in class, and they didn't have that. And so I don't ever want to lose sympathy for the parent or the student.
Right.
And I will tell you this, that I know mental health is a big buzzword now. I think it causes a tremendous amount of anxiety for these kids who've had their cell phone with them for 16 hours, and they're scrolling and refreshing every 10 seconds.
It's an addiction.
It is an addiction.
It's a dopamine.
And now you're telling me for 7 straight hours, I can't do this thing. You know, I got to put it down.
But is that healthy or unhealthy?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, can you imagine being a smoker?
Yeah.
And
having to go 7
say,
hours without a cigarette.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the next 7 hours. I mean, I think that I'm not a smoker, but I think that builds anxiety, and I would imagine for a young person, like I said, if you're used to checking your likes and follows and
or anything,
what's going on constantly, and then so I told you this is a non-answer.
Right.
I guess
I do agree with you. I mean, my feeling is, of course, I grew up in an era when there were no cell phones.
Sure.
And so if there was an emergency, the parents called the principal's office or the office, and they would either call over the intercom or somebody'd come and get you out of class. I mean, there was always a way to connect with your student. Now, we didn't have shutdowns and the mass lockdowns that they have now because it was a different time. So I do understand what you're saying about the parents may have big anxiety about not being able to check on their child. But I grew up without any of that. And so I know that it didn't hurt but then I didn't know what it was like to be able to check. I mean, I'm like you, but do you look at it as the anxiety that's created by not letting them have their phones, or does it give them an oasis because they find out they can live 7 hours without checking their phones and everything's fine? It's a mess to me because I think we're at this technological verge of how you got, like you were talking about, this is something you're going to have to deal with. All school systems are now with AI coming up, and there's the ability for AI to do so much to both help students and help students cheat. And we already are seeing that, ChatGPT and all these things are helping kids completely write themes and papers that they don't even touch. And that's hard to detect unless you've got ways to do that. So I don't know. I think I wouldn't have your job because I'm telling you, you've got a lot. As you said, you've got everything that's been going on up to this point still there. The importance of all of the education and how it's done. And good Lord, it looks like there's new stuff going to pop up on a daily, if not hourly basis because of technology. I don't know how you stay ahead of it.
Yeah, so let me ask you two guys. Can I ask y'all a question?
Sure.
Actually, a question and a follow-up question. How important today is spelling?
That's an excellent question because I was always a bad speller. I got better as I went through college, but I was a terrible speller. And now, while I'm typing out stuff to people, autocorrect fixes a lot of my stuff. So it has made me lazy because autocorrect has both helped me and it's also made me look like an idiot. Because sometimes I don't check and it's the wrong word, comes out. So I'm thinking spelling is important, but it's going to be harder and harder to convince anybody of that.
So I'm betting you grew up like I grew up in elementary. We took spelling as a class.
We did.
We had a spelling test every Friday.
And spelling bees all the time.
And it had a spelling bee. And so, but I'm going somewhere with this, I promise you. So, but now we see it's de-emphasized, and it's almost acceptable now. Like, I'll just autocorrect it.
Right.
I really don't have to know how to do that because it will get auto-corrected. Okay. That's a trend. We see that headed that way. Do I agree with it? No. I think you need to know how to spell. I think written word is important. I think stream of consciousness writing is important. I'm a supporter of all those things. I'm not advocating for that.
Right.
But
you're talking about the trend.
So we're saying the trend is that's becoming more and more acceptable. Okay, so right now we're like, it's academic dishonesty to let AI write a paper for you. I mean, when you just put in a prompt and it writes the paper for you, well, 25 years from now, what are people going to think? Are they going to think
a tool?
Are they going to think it's academic dishonesty, or is it going to be just like going to the library and getting encyclopedias,
getting it quicker
and looking it up?
Well,
I don't know. I hope not. But
how did they find the difference between if I went to the library or we actually had some encyclopedia. My dad did buy us an encyclopedia at home. If I took and looked up Africa as a continent, and I had supposed to write a paper on it, and if I went in there and saw this beautifully written thing about Africa as a continent, and I wrote it down word for word, that's plagiarism.
It is.
So is it plagiarism if you let AI write it for you? Because in that case, you are copying someone else's word for word, so that's plagiarism to me. But then again, it's not a human being that wrote it. It was created for you at your request.
It's not in your own words.
No,
and from
not
your
at
own train
all.
of thought.
It's not even in your own. But anyway, let me ask you this: when I text, and I do a lot of texting, I do it with the capital letters, full writing sentences.
Same.
I do a period at the end, 2 spaces before the next one, comma, 1 space. I mean, I do it like I'm writing a term paper. Complete sentences, correct grammar. Now I have friends that I'll ask them a very cognizant question, and I get an emoji for an answer. I get a dragon and whatever, and I don't even know what that means. What students now are communicating in completely different ways than we as adults are used to. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but like, how do teachers and how does the school system deal with the fact that the very foundation of how people communicate now with emojis and autocorrect, how do y'all deal with that?
Well, and I ask you, I'll do you one better. Then how do you assess them on the ACT,
Right.
on the English portion of the ACT, which says identify the grammar error in this sentence, and
it's very difficult.
They don't even type. If you want to say how are you, I'm going to type how, capital R, capital U,
and a U,
and no.
And
no
a
question,
and a dragon
no
emoji.
question mark or anything. And
you know what I do on the ACT? I'd have never passed it now because I just, if you'd asked that question I just put a turd emoji and then be done with it, And that's
one of these.
or the face grinning, the round face frowning. Yeah. Is any of that taken into account nowadays? I mean, it's almost like a different language. So are they going to build that into these tests from this portion on?
No, we're still, Alabama establishes a course of study, and our course of study is aligned with
the standards of the day.
The standards of the day, and those standards don't change, and our teachers are required to be teaching those standards. Now how they do it, can vary. Much more freedom in the high school grades than in the lower grades to how you address those standards. But ideally, you're teaching each of those standards, and then those standards are addressed on standardized tests. And so, hopefully within the classroom, you're still getting that instruction that you're going to be tested on the standardized test. We don't teach to the test, but the standards, we teach to the standards.
There you go. I don't want to put you on the spot, but let me ask you another controversial thing. What do you do about gender identity now in the school system? Because in many of the more liberal areas of this country, that is one of the biggest deals in these big cities. I don't see it much in Alabama, and I sure don't see it much in rural areas. But is there let me just ask you this. Is there a difficulty now with dealing with gender identity or fluidity or whatever you want to call it in this area?
No, sir, not that I'm aware of. I think the fabric of this community is solid on that issue.
Good.
And I'm not aware of any issues that have arisen with that. And that is something that we would take a very firm stance against here. I think as a community.
You get these stories that come out, and they become just urban legends because there's no basis probably from being real. But I remember about a year ago, when I lived in Alabaster, they were talking all up in that north part of Shelby County about supposedly there was one of the schools up there that a kid identified as being a cat, and they were required by law to put a litter box in the bathroom, and everybody just got so mad about it, and it didn't exist. It was an urban legend. That's got to be damaging in a lot of ways for administrators of schools when so much information about a lot of the things with education, that's just one of many that's untrue, and and with social media now, it looks like fact for a lot of people, and then you've got to deal with that even though it doesn't exist. Is that hard to do?
Yes, sir. I the best analogy I can make is social media is like fire. You can use it to give you light and to keep you warm as a tool for so many good things, or it can burn your house down.
Right. That's a great analogy. I'm going to steal that one.
It's all in how you use it, and we're very intentionally as a school district, and even me personally, about the professional uses for social media are for information and to celebrate success.
Right.
And professionally, as an organization, that's what we believe in. It's not for discourse back and forth. We have offices, telephones, email. That's
Board meetings, all kinds of stuff.
meetings that where we conduct professional business, and for the most part, people are very, very respectful of that. But on the flip side, I mean, you can't control what somebody's going to post or say.
Absolutely.
That's the problem. On the problem end of social media, since it's there's no holding anyone accountable for what they say because they can do it anonymously. Can put anything. Doesn't have to be true. Doesn't have to be real.
Yeah, and you could talk about the litter box story. You could go post that today about one of our schools, and I'm not going to respond to it.
No.
I'm not. But if a parent called me and said, "Hey, is this true?" I was absolutely not.
No, right.
That's
No
not,
use putting gasoline on the fire. Social, but be honest and open about it. Jaylen, you have any other?
I do. You've been superintendent for the past 3 years or so, and that comes with a lot of stress, I bet, but also with a lot of criticism and disagreements. How would you say that you handle those sort of things?
We should have let him ask his questions first. That's a very good question.
That's a good
Jack.
question.
Very, very good question. I knew going into this job that it's a public position, and anytime you make a decision, you're opening yourself up to criticism. The one that pops up just immediately to me is anytime you got to make a call about the weather. Is you're going to get criticism one way or the other, but I can't control the weather,
right?
And I could.
Is that really a big deal for some people?
For some people, yes, sir.
Really?
Yes, sir. I only need two things to do this job perfectly, and that's a time machine and a crystal ball. And I don't have either one of those things, and so
that's good.
The criticism does not bother me. It doesn't. Yeah, I know that it comes with the job. What you wish people would consider sometimes is that I do have a wife and I do have two children. I have a son that's inside the school system, and when things become personal or public, even though it's water off my back,
right?
It's not for them.
It affects the family.
Just like it wouldn't be for any of y'all. Like we're all tough skinned. You say whatever you want to about me, but if it's somebody you love, it's gonna rankle your feathers.
Oh, absolutely. It cuts a little bit deeper.
Yeah, and so that part is hard. That part is. I won't pretend that it's easy, and it doesn't get any easier. It's just as hard 3.5 years in as it was at the beginning. That the criticism is felt way more strongly by the people that love you than by you as a leader, because you know when you make a decision, there's going to be somebody that's not pleased with it.
Right.
So that's a great question, and I think there's something wrong with somebody that says I love criticism and I love conflict.
I don't buy that.
No.
They're
right.
Or I love confrontation. Well, I mean, there's something wrong if you do, because that's not how we don't want to be messy.
That's not conductive or conducive for forward movement. No. Really, that all it does is stop progress. No. Yeah, I appreciate all. We've kept you a long time, and we appreciate your time with us, Corey. Before we close, is there any one thing, if we got our folks that are listening or watching right now that are parents in the school system or grandparents, What would you like to say to folks that are in our community? And maybe you're not even a parent or grandparent. Maybe you're just in the community. But everybody should support schools. And, I mean, the rising tide raises all boats. So you want the better for the community is the better the school. What can people do to help you and your teachers make the school system better? What can individuals or citizens do that you would appreciate the help?
Be involved. Be involved, like I said, when we have open houses or informational meetings. It's very encouraging to classroom teachers and administrators to see a full house, to know that their people, their stakeholders are there and want to help. So, number one is be involved. Number two is positive communication. I think somewhere along the line, the teacher and parent relationship became adversarial, and I think it's got to be, the communication has to be more positive on both sides. When the first time the classroom teacher calls a parent and the parent picks up, it doesn't need to be, "You're not going to believe what Bill did at school today." It needs to be,
"Boy, did my dad hear that."
It needs to be, "Hey, I want to tell you what a joy it is to have Bill in class. I know you, or a note. I know you don't hear it a lot, but he's really making a lot of progress." And then at the same time, as a parent, you want to let that teacher know, "Hey, thank you for investing in my kid. Thank you for doing a job that not a lot of people can do, and just want you to know that our family appreciates it." And I think, if we're more involved and there's more positive communication both ways, then I think it just makes the whole dynamic of a school building better.
What do you think changed in the attitude that made it adversarial? When I was a kid, if my teacher called my parents and said, and they did on occasion, or send a note home, which they did on a lot of occasions, that said I wouldn't shut up in class, or I was throwing something, or whatever, negative things about my activity in school, my mom and dad immediately took the teacher's side.
Sure.
Made me, apologize and all that. There was no question. And my dad would say, "Did you do that?" Now, if I lied to him and said no, it'd be a lie. And if I said yes, then I got in trouble. And I got in trouble either way. But the thing is, my parents always figured that if it had been extreme, something weird, but the teacher was always right for the most part. And the criticism of me wasn't taken personal, like the teacher didn't like me. The criticism was I wasn't doing the right thing in school. What happened to that attitude?
I'm not a sociologist, but I think we would all agree that outrage culture is a real thing.
Yeah.
That
has this, and I'm holding up my cell phone, has social media accelerated that?
I think so, and the world, and not even social media, just the internet. The world's so much smaller, and there was a time when you went out to eat, and if you had a bad experience, you just had a bad experience.
Didn't go back again.
Now, if you have a bad experience, everybody in 3 counties knows. I've given you a 1-star and written this review.
That's true.
And it's it's just, the world is so much smaller,
and it's put a lot of power in an individual's hands to do good and to do harm.
Yeah, and 99 people can go eat,
and have a great time
at the Dairy Delight, and it be exactly what it's supposed to be, and they'll never say a word, because that's just, the expectation is I go to the restaurant, they serve me,
It was
my
good.
food's good, I pay, I eat it,
They were
nice
nice.
price, and I go home. But one person has a bad experience, and then that's
Hurts the business.
everywhere. It hurts the
Oh, yeah.
business, hurts the community, and I think that trickles over into schools. Your kid comes home and tells you they had a bad day at school, that they got in trouble. Teacher was mean to me, or somebody pushed me when nobody was watching. Well, now it's like
a
I
bigger
said,
deal.
It's a bigger deal. Just
It's-
like I said, because the world's smaller.
if I got pushed at school and I'd go home and tell my dad I got pushed down, he said, "What'd you do about it?" Or did you push him back, or did you walk away? And there was never any thought to call the teacher. Now, bullying is a horrible thing.
Yes,
Don't
sir.
get me wrong. I'm
Yes,
not
sir.
belittling that, but there is reasonable, actions. So.
If I could leave you with anything too,
Please.
that you said that there's so much public information about our schools that if people want to, if you want to look up our academic report cards, you can look up our academic report card and see the progress we're making. If you want to see improvements to our facilities, you just drive up and down the road and you look at our facilities. What I'd like to kind of in closing say is there's some things that we're doing that I want our parents and stakeholders to know about that you're not going to see in any kind of report or anything like that. Number one, parents want to know when their kids go to school that they're safe.
Bingo.
That's the most important job that we have, is to make sure our kids are safe. And so over the last 3 years, we've increased our number of school resource officers from 8 to 15. We have a school resource officer in every one of our buildings. We have one at our Career Tech Center, and we actually have 2 at our largest high school. Next year, we'll add a 16th. We'll add another one at our next largest high school. And I want people to know that's an area of emphasis to us. We've replaced every one of our security cameras with over 400 high definition security cameras.
Good for y'all.
So that, is it perfect? Do we have perfect coverage everywhere? No, we don't, but it's so much better than it was 3 years ago. This summer, we're installing new intercom systems in every one of our schools that have emergency call buttons in every classroom.
Excellent.
And so every teacher, if there's an issue, they will have one touch straight to the main office and the SRO to let them know there's a problem here. And so you're not going to see that on a Facebook post or in a picture or in some data that comes out. But I think as a parent, you would want to know that. And I think it makes you feel more solid about, hey, when I drop my kid off, they're going to
be safe.
They've got eyes on them, and they're going to be safe. Is it perfect? No, sir. It's not. There is
no perfect.
There's nothing perfect, and without gates and barbed wire and metal detectors,
right.
But you don't have the personnel to do all those things.
Well, and I don't know that I want a school to feel like a fortress.
Nope.
You're right.
I want it to be a school. I want them safe, but I also want them to feel good about going in there every day, not feel like they're going into a detention center or something.
Yeah. And our local law enforcement is outstanding.
Yeah, thank God to all those
Top-notch.
SROs too. Your
Absolutely.
school resource, those guys, that's another calling.
Yeah.
A lot of them do it because they want to make a positive impression on the kids, keep them safe, and also make a positive impression.
That's a great point. That is a calling because, I think a lot of people that dream of going into law enforcement, it's probably out on the road chasing bad guys and
catching bank
making
robbers.
arrests and things like that. And being in a school is a different job, but it's a vitally important job
It really
to
is.
keeping almost 8,000 kids safe every day.
Well, Corey, thank you for spending so much time with us. I hope we didn't keep you too long, but
sir.
this has been fascinating, actually. And, we take our schools for granted. We all do. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but we expect them to be there. We expect them to be good. We expect the kids to be safe. And the beauty of it is, it's almost always is. Our school system has its problems and has its needs to change some things and fix other things and update. But for the most part, we take you for granted because you do such a good job all the time. And especially in Chilton County, kids are coming out of this school system, citizens, well prepared for adulthood and with great attitudes. And I just think we want to thank you because we take you guys for granted. We certainly take our teachers for granted, and it's a shame, but you've spoiled us because you do a good job what you do. So thank you for being with us. Anytime you need to come talk about something in the schools, you let us know. We'd love to have you on.
This has been very, very informative, and
Yeah,
I've
me
enjoyed myself.
Well, thank you. Corey Clements, Superintendent of Chilton County Schools. It's 8:33, 27 minutes now away from 9 o'clock. I'm sitting next to a math guy, so I had to do that real quick, that double time thing. That took me a while. I had to carry the 3. Anyway, we're going to be back with more. It is Memorial Day weekend as we head into the weekend. Thank you so much for watching and listening this morning. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Matt.
Traditions come and go, but excellent service and compassionate care are benchmarks in any era. That's what Ellison Memorial Funeral Home is committed to providing you. Whether through the pre-arrangement process or seeking services at your time of loss, Ellison Memorial offers a noticeable level of care and attention to detail. Others do not. So before making a decision based on yesterday's traditions, experience the Ellison difference when it comes to your loved one's final arrangements. You'll be glad you did. Call us today at 205-280-4600. Ellison Memorial Funeral Home, setting the new standard in local funeral service excellence. We are always here when you need us.
Underage drinking is deemed by many adults to be a rite of passage. Parents who host parties for youth may think they are being protective, but they are actually putting their youth at risk of physical and social consequences. Know the truth. Underage drinking and social hosting is a bad mix. For more information, contact Central Alabama Wellness, 205-651-0077, or visit centralalabamawellness.org.
Chilton Mobile Home Parts and Supply is your go-to destination for top quality mobile home parts and supplies in Clanton, Alabama. Conveniently located at 14023 County Road 29, just 3 miles east of Thorsby. We offer a diverse inventory, including underpinning, doors, windows, faucets, tubs, setup supplies, and more. Our commitment to quality ensures you'll find the best solutions for your mobile home needs. Upgrade your space with stylish doors and windows. Enhance functionality with top-notch faucets and tubs. All conveniently available in one place. Visit us today or call 205-646-1949. Transform your mobile home with Chilton, where quality meets convenience. Need reliable towing or diesel repair? Mem's Wrecker and Heavy Duty Diesel Repair has you covered. We specialize in light and heavy duty towing and recovery with the latest equipment for any job, from campers and tractor trailers to winch box recoveries, and the only local-based rotator in the county. We do it all. Our diesel repair services include computer diagnostics, engine rebuilds, transmission and clutch work, and general maintenance. Trust Mem's Wrecker and Heavy Duty Diesel Repair for top-notch service. Call us at 205-217-1984. Some family traditions begin with an ending. Lasting family legacies are established at Martin Funeral Home, where for over 100 years we have served the families in our community. Bobby, Donnie, Norma, and our family at Martin Funeral Home would like to express our sincere gratitude for allowing us to serve your family. Every life story deserves the perfect setting. We are here to make that happen for you and your loved one. We offer traditional funeral home services, and we are now excited to be the home of the first crematory in Clanton, Alabama. Our goal is to serve our families no matter what their needs are. Martin Funeral Home, serving Chilton County since 1921. Please give us a call at 205-755-3550.
The plans you have for your property need the right equipment. Kubota has reliable tractors, utility vehicles, and mowers to help you make the most of your land, along with strong dealer support. Stop by today to explore our lineup. Right now, bring home select Kubota BX Series with 0% financing available or save up to $1,500. Now through February 28th, see us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Get by Clanton Tractor today or visit ClantonTractor.com.
Need care fast? Come see us at Chilton Urgent Care, 1210 7th Street South in Clanton. We offer efficient care with minimal wait times and a wide array of services, including on-site x-rays, wound care, and quick assistance with urgent needs. Medicare and most private insurance and private pay welcome. No appointment needed. Walk in Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and Saturday from 8 to 4. Call 205-280-0620. Chilton Urgent Care. Quality care when you need it. Traditions come and go, but excellent service and compassionate care are benchmarks in any era. That's what Ellison Memorial Funeral Home is committed to providing you. Whether through the pre-arrangement process or seeking services at your time of loss, Ellison Memorial offers a noticeable level of care and attention to detail. Others do not. So before making a decision based on yesterday's traditions, experience the Ellison difference when it comes to your loved one's final arrangements. You'll be glad you did. Call us today at 205-280-4600. Ellison Memorial Funeral Home, setting the new standard in local funeral service excellence. We are always here when you need us.
We're back on this Friday morning as we head into Memorial Day weekend. It's Jaylen and Dollar Bill with you. It's 8:41, 19 away from 9 o'clock. So we're getting near the end of the show this morning. Fascinating talk with the superintendent of education because, you know, first of all, I'm old, and so it's been decades since I was in school.
No, you're not.
My kids are already grown, and my grandkids don't even live. What'd you say? Did I get cut just
No, I said no. I said, no, you're not old.
Yeah, he did get cut. Yeah, it's okay. Ooh, I'm just bleeding a little bit. Just a little. You just tabbed me a little bit.
I'm just trying to make you feel good about yourself, Mr. Bill.
Well, that's so ludicrous.
I didn't mean to cut your train of
I'm just giving you a hard time, Jaylen. No, it's true, but you know, I'm out of touch with school systems. I really am. You know, I'm almost great grandparent without the great grandkids. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm not around school systems anymore. I'm not living it day to day like when when I was in school or when my kids were in school, or even my grandkids. They're almost in college. So it's fascinating. We all benefit from a great school system because it does help everybody in the community, and it's something we can take pride in. And I think he has an amazing passion for doing good things in Chilton County. So I'm really impressed with him.
And I'm just glad to have him back as the superintendent as well.
Yeah, he just won the election, apparently. Well, he won the play, but he doesn't have any opposition, so he's in. And that's good. Good questions, by the way. You did.
That's something that I really like to figure out is the psychology about how do you handle certain things, why do you do so.
That's really smart because it's also, if you've got a guest, it shows that you're taking an interest in them on a personal level. So it's a great thing. He's a smart guy. Right.
And that's what I wanted to do. So I wanted to just to pry a little bit and just to see. But to thank some of our sponsors, Workout Anytime and Coca-Cola. So thank you.
Yeah, Coca-Cola, of course, great sponsors. Has been since the very beginning. And Workout Anytime, I probably need to go see them. I need to do a little working out. But I'm lazy. But boy, it can sure make you, if you start working out young and keep at it, it sure can make for a longer, better quality of life. So
Or
That's great. And we thank them for being sponsors.
Or you drink a bunch of Monsters.
Yeah, I went to Armor All, so or Body Armor. I mean.
Well, he did have
Armor All is what you put on your dashboard to make it shiny.
That's Body Armor.
I might need some of that too.
Armor All. Oh man,
Body Armor is what I'm drinking.
there we go. But you did have a Monster.
I did have one earlier.
You did have
I
one.
killed it though. That Monster's dead. It is 8:44 and it is Memorial Day weekend, and we've yet to really mention the fact that with Memorial Day weekend, there are moments this whole weekend, if you can take a moment just to stop and in your head or whatever, say a prayer or say a thank you to those men and women who have given the ultimate sacrifice for our lives. You know, it started out our Memorial Day in this country started out right after the Civil War. Mm-hmm. So many died in the war between the states, and and it was basically like a decoration day for war dead. And of course, it's now developed into Memorial Day or Memorial Weekend when we moved it to a Monday so that you get the long holiday weekend. But it's not, I mean, we thank all our veterans and we thank all our service members and all, but this is the weekend or the day on Monday to stop and really say thank you and to bless the families and the sacrifices made by those who died for our freedoms in our country. My dad lost 2 of his older brothers in World War II. My mother lost 1 of her brothers. So I've lost 3 uncles in World War II. I was lucky I had several family members. I was just at the end of Vietnam, but I had several family members that fought in Vietnam, and they came back. Mm-hmm. And they came back in pretty good shape. They're just starting to learn during mainly the Middle Eastern conflicts what PTSD is.
Right.
And so all of our veterans up until just the last 15, 20 years just had to deal with it.
There was suffering.
It was just something that was
just part of it, really. And then until we
come
learn
back
more
and
about it.
Get over it. So this Monday, if you will, there are some things going on. I know that the big national cemetery up in Montevallo, it's right between Montevallo and Alabaster. I think technically it's in Montevallo on Highway 119. It's our national cemetery in the area. It's like the Arlington of
right.
Alabama. It's where servicemen and their family members can be buried. And it's a beautiful place. Have you ever been there?
I have not.
Oh, beautiful. And it's easy to access. We're losing many of our Korean and Vietnam veterans are now getting of the age we're losing them. I don't know that is there any there's just maybe a few World War II veterans left. Aging has taken most of them out.
Right.
And so, you can go there and pay your tributes if you want, just drive through it. Mm-hmm. And I think they put flags or flowers and stuff on all the graves out there.
Right.
Memorial Day. So I think it's flags. So you can go drive through it. And it's just a way to say thank you and to pay homage to these men and women who died for us.
Who sacrificed
the ultimate. And their families do too. We always talk about it's so tragic when I was listening to a story yesterday about a young man that was coming out of, I forgot which fort it was. He just graduated from infantry school. Mom and dad came down to watch his graduation. This was back about 20 years ago. And, Desert Storm was going on or whatever, Middle Eastern War. And they had a cross in the field where the boy graduated at the base. They had a field out there that they had planted redbud trees for every member of that unit that had been killed in service. And the dad said, "What are all those redbud trees?" And the young boy said, "That's the field of honor. That's everyone who's died." He said, "You want to go over and walk through it with me?" And he said, "Heck no." He said, "I don't want to have a tree out there. I don't want to die." Well, he got killed about a year later in the Middle East. And so they put a redbud tree by his marker out there. Well, they decided a few years ago to take out all the redbud trees and put in crepe myrtles, white crepe myrtles. They say it's beautiful now. But they allowed any family member, if they wanted their son or daughter's redbud tree, they could do it. So this father who had sat there with his son and said, "You want to go through it?" And he said, "No, because I don't ever want a redwood tree and my name out there." Went and got his son's redwood tree, put it and wrapped it up, took it out of the ground, wrapped it up, and took it home and buried it. So, I mean, planted it. So it's now growing in their yard at their home, I think in South Carolina. And he said that it did so well when they planted it back in about 2016 that now it's dropping pods of seeds. So he collects those and roots them. And anybody in his family that wants one of his son's redwood trees or friends or whatever, he can give it to them. So he's carrying on that kind of tradition. And that's the same thing by just going out to the museum. I mean the
cemetery.
Cemetery.
I mean, it's a sort of like you said, tradition, a symbolism.
Symbolism. It's all about symbolism, really.
Right.
Once they've passed on or been killed. But it's. I hope you do stop just on Monday and think a little bit about it. Say a prayer if you're in the mood to do so, and, or just say thank you. But it. Also, we want to remind everybody that this is also the weekend a lot of people start off their summer celebration, and there's going to be an awful lot of people on the road.
Yeah, on the road and with the rain and everything.
Yeah,
that's
the rain
going to happen. So
we've got a good chance of storms, even tornadic activity through the afternoons, like an 80% chance of storms today, tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday. Memorial Day Monday. We need the rain, but this is not how a lot of people want it during the
it's just for everyone to be careful.
Yeah, and the traffic's going to be a mess.
Yes, but in other news for this weekend, today actually it starts for Memorial Weekend. Alabama softball, they start off their super regionals against LSU today. Supposedly at 6 o'clock. We don't know. Of course, the rain.
Yeah. Where are they playing?
They're playing in Tuscaloosa.
In Tuscaloosa.
So it's a 3-game series. So
Go girls.
If they win, then they'll go to the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City.
Excellent.
So, and that starts tonight.
I've really been impressed with women's college softball. It's really become quite it's a great sport.
We watch it
to
all
watch.
the time at the house.
And these girls, guys can be tough competitors. I think these women are tougher competitors. They are doing amazing things. They are athletic, and they do know how to play ball. And I love some of these girls' arms that are pitching now. That I've never understood the mechanics of that softball pitch. It just seems like it would just be so much harder than the other way.
Right.
And these girls are throwing fastballs across that are amazing.
Right.
And they've got, they're different. I don't know how they do it. I can't throw one of those swinging underhanded softball pitches I wouldn't be.
Oh, it's difficult. But we have that, and then we also have every year we have the SEC tournament for baseball at the Hoover Met.
Yeah, a friend of mine went out yesterday, and they're a big Arkansas fan, and Arkansas was playing yesterday, and they won their game.
Yep.
But she and her husband were in the stands, and one of the I think it was Arkansas players popped a foul, and she wasn't paying attention, and she heard everybody go, "Duck, duck, duck," just yelling, "Watch out." So she grabbed her hands, put her on the back of her head, and leaned over so she wouldn't get conked, and it hit her right on the corner of the shoulder. And they had to get the paramedics up there and check her out. It nailed her good. This was not just a tap.
Right. Oh, no, it's a thud.
Yeah. That was day before yesterday. It's Friday, Wednesday evening. So she came by the house with another friend of ours yesterday. She had a big old blue spot up there on that arm, and she said it was sore. But she wasn't upset because at least Arkansas won, so she's a big Arkansas fan.
And they played today, I believe, against Texas. So.
Texas, I don't know who they were playing. LSU. They were playing LSU.
Yes.
Sorry. I guess that was Wednesday night.
Yeah, they did, and then they had a day off because they try to do 2 games per day.
Right.
Right. So yesterday, Mississippi State got beat by Florida. I'm sorry, Bama got beat by Florida yesterday, and then Georgia beat Mississippi State yesterday as well.
I hate both those outcomes because I'm a little bit more of a Mississippi State fan because I had friends that graduated there, and then of course I wanted Alabama to win.
Right. But and now we're going into the the quarterfinals and the championship rounds today and tomorrow, and
exciting.
then Bama softball. I mean, they're one step closer, and because they got the #1 overall seed out of the entire tournament, so they're really poised.
They do. Are they #1 seed? I didn't know that.
So they're very.
How's Auburn doing in women's? I heard weren't they supposed to be pretty good too?
I think so, but I know a lot of the focus has been on Alabama because they are one of the top choices to win the entire World
really?
Series. So
Good for them. Go girls. Go roll Tide-ettas. Go Tide-arenas.
what Tide-ettas?
Tide-ettas. Or Tide-naritas.
I have never heard of that before.
I just made it up. I was trying to figure out a way to put a gender
a stamp on
like if I was Spanish, I would have to like amigo and amiga.
Well, I guess speaking of Spanish, there was in the town of Tancicado, known as the avocado capital of the world, just set a new Guinness World Record for the largest serving of guacamole.
Really?
15,000 pounds of guac.
They made 15,000 pounds of guacamole?
Yes, they have an annual avocado. They have an annual avocado festival, and more than 800 volunteers teamed up to make it in about 2.5 hours.
That's a lot of guacamole.
But it's just the
Holy guacamole.
But for me, it's about the time. At 2.5 hours to make 15,000 pounds.
That's a lot. I mean, I would have thought it took a lot longer than 2.5 hours to make that much guacamole.
Really?
Now, that's quick when you think about having to. I mean, with the avocados already? Were they cutting them open and digging out the flesh and then making
I
it?
would like to think so.
Wow, then that's moving along pretty quick.
Right, and they're fresh.
Yeah, I guess so.
I bet they are.
Think how many onions they had to use and all the other stuff in it. Lemon juice.
They use
lime.
a lot of onions, tomatoes, serrano peppers, and lime juice. Now, are you? Would you say when you go to like a Mexican restaurant, are you more of a guac type of person, or do you like salsa and queso?
Yes. All of it.
All of it.
I like it all. That's just a yes.
That's just your
I like
go-to.
chips and salsa. I love queso, and I love guacamole. So it's like Mary gets mad because Mary, my wife, hates guacamole. She hates it. She says she doesn't like the color. She doesn't like the taste. She doesn't like the look. She doesn't like anything of it. And I love guacamole. So what I'll do is I'll dip the chip in the guacamole. Then go over and dip it again in the salsa, give it a little salsa. So it puts a little guacamole in the salsa, so then she can't touch it.
Oh, so
Because I'm contaminating the salsa with the guacamole. And God knows, don't put anything in the cheese dip. She likes very mild stuff. She thinks ketchup's hot. So the salsa has to be very, very, very mild, or she won't touch it.
right.
But she loves the queso.
Because it's not spicy.
Well, sometimes it isn't.
Most of the time
some
it's
places
not.
will put a little something in it to
Right.
make it spicy, but she loves the cheese. So I have to make sure that when we order at a Mexican restaurant, that we order her a bowl of queso dip so that she can have that and it won't be contaminated by the
Right.
rest of us.
Does she get on you for that though? Whenever you contaminate the salsa and the guacamole?
Let's see. Let me throw this up to Baden, who's behind the camera. Do you think Mary would get on to anybody for anything that she didn't think was right? No. Yes. She would cut my head off with a machete if I contaminated her. Yeah, she would jump on me. She's
on you.
not subtle.
Well, I mean, I know
I'm sorry. I love that woman, but I tell people and this is the truth. I love Mary to the bottom of my heart, Jaylen, but I'm also scared to death of her.
But that's what keeps that love so strong.
It's what keeps commitment strong.
I see.
Fear. Fear in a marriage is a healthy thing for I guess for the women.
Is that marriage? Fear? A constant fear?
It is for ours. My fear of her. I love her, but I'm scared to death. I don't want her mad at me. I don't want her getting mad at me.
Which I know, like in terms of, you tell the story before about in the house that you like it cold, and she likes it hot. So it seems like, and she doesn't like spicy stuff.
And I love spicy stuff.
It kind of seems like you guys are just like on the opposite side of this sort of stuff.
We are. So she gets all her food and I get mine. We keep things separate. Her part of the house has heating, and my part of the house has some air conditioning. Or I go outside, or I go somewhere else, or I sit in the car.
Do you go outside now? It's very
cool
hot
at night.
At night,
Yeah.
But like yesterday, it was.
No. Yesterday I was an inside. Well, actually, she had me out yesterday painting some stuff and doing some stuff, but it was all right. July and August, you're not going to see my butt outside much.
Really? Now, what
that
about
heat and humidity kills me.
But we talked about earlier about how much we share a love for oysters.
Oh, dude. But again, we're not supposed to eat them in the month without an R.
Well,
I do.
We do.
Yeah.
Just because someone tells us not to do so. I think that kind of makes us want to do it even more.
Well, and the thing is, there are different oysters. Apalachicola oysters and others from the Gulf are more susceptible than the English New England oysters, like the Black Point and some of those others from up in Maine and New England.
Right.
That water stays cold all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these restaurants start bringing oysters in. Instead of being Gulf oysters, the big ones, they bring the little ones from the cold water of New England, and they're perfectly fine.
Now, my last thing.
They taste different, though.
I bet they do. My last thing is a lot of people, they don't like to eat oysters if they're not on the water because they want it to be as fresh as possible.
Right.
Are you that way? Like, you don't eat oysters unless you're near the coast?
No. The beauty of it is you just got to find out. If you go to, there's the local oyster house in Columbiana, and they have oysters all the time. But you ask them, how often do they bring them up from the coast? Because, the thing is, what's the difference if they take them right out of the water, put them in a refrigerated truck, and bring them 4 hours north? There's no different from getting them off the boat, putting them in ice, carting them to the seafood warehouse or distribution point, then putting them in a refrigerated truck, taking them to the restaurants. So nowadays with fast transportation, that's not the problem. The thing is, you just want to know if they came out of the water a couple of days ago or yesterday, or they come out of the water a week and a half ago.
Right, and then when we talk about in the summer, you really get sick.
Yeah. Well, you can, and of course, in the summer, the southern ones, the ones in the Gulf, they worry about the temperature of the water where they're growing, not the fact that they're not fresh. They can come out of warm water contaminated.
Right.
Because the warm water will allow bacteria and all to grow in the oysters. So they get it now, or you can get stuff from all over the world, Yeah, we're getting lobster now. Most of the lobster crab and lobster, a lot of it used to come from Alaska. Now, a lot of it's coming out of Russia and places like that.
Really?
Yeah. Russia's most of the crab and some of the lobster and stuff is out of Russia, or was. I don't know about what's happened in the last 6 months and the stuff, but even, Ukrainian stuff, what they do is they ship it to another country and then they sell it here because, we're mad at them for Ukraine, which is fine. But you never know where some of the stuff comes from.
We don't. It's just a gamble.
Well, it's 9:02. We got to go.
Yeah, we do got to go.
Happy Memorial Day weekend to everybody. We'll be back here on Memorial Day Monday morning, so we'll see you then. And we just hope you have a great weekend as we head into Memorial Day.
Be careful.
Yeah, be real careful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a lot of people are going to be on the road. And you know how I-65 has gotten. 20 years ago, I-65 was not usually much of a problem to go up and down. Now,
congested.
It's like Highway 2. It's like going to Atlanta, or it's terrible in some places. Going to the coast or coming back north. So just be careful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Jaylen, what you going to do this weekend?
My brother has a baseball tournament, so I will be.
Where's at the?
It'll be in Alabaster.
Alabaster.
So I'll be supporting
Veterans
him.
Park.
Mm-hmm. I'll be supporting him.
Good for him. Good for you. Hope he wins. Baden. I was going to say Jaylen and Baden. Baden, you going to do anything this weekend? Just work. You always work.
She never stops.
Baden is a worker. I will, of course, be very lazy. I'm not doing anything hardly.
Go ahead.
So y'all be safe, and we'll see you on